pesos of the confidential fund spending of the DepEd went to payment of reward to informers. This expense item has been flagged by the COA in view of the DepEd's failure to provide sufficient supporting documentation on the success of the agency's own information gathering and surveillance activities. Para po ipaalala sa nakakarami, under the joint circular, one of the conditions that must be met in order for an agency or office to use confidential funds to pay rewards to informers is supporting documentation evidencing the success of the information gathering and or surveillance activities on account of the information provided by the informer. Based on the respective accomplishment reports and the acknowledgement receipts submitted by the OVP and the DepEd, the total amounts utilized for the payment of reward to informers is 96,980,000 pesos for the OVP, covering the period from the fourth quarter of 2022 until the third quarter of 2023, and 21,921,000 pesos for DepEd from the first to third quarters of 2023. This is a total of 118,901,000 pesos. Napakarami po sanang classroom, tuition, sweldo ng guro, at iba pa ang pwedeng paggamitan nito. I stress also that this amount of money is just for supposed payment of rewards. It does not include all other things for which confidential funds were spent for. When inquired about the certifications which the DepEd submitted to the COA, former Undersecretary and Chief of Staff of the Office of the Secretary of DepEd, Mr. Michael Poa, admitted to having asked retired Major General Nolasco, admitted that they did not receive any funding from the DepEd. The summits were actually funded by the budget of the Philippine Army and from funds of participating local government units, as conferred by Colonel Boransing. Lieutenant Colonel Panopio also supported Colonel Boransing's statements that they were not aware that certifications issued by them would be used to justify the DepEd's confidential fund spending for informants. We eventually came to know that these certifications issued by Army Civil Military Operations Staff Officers Colonel Boransing, Lieutenant Colonel Sangdaan Jr., and Colonel Magtanggol Panopio for the youth leadership summits and information education campaigns in 2023 only showed that the fact that these events were successfully conducted at the different barangays in their areas of responsibility. This is yet another clear derogation of the joint circular. DepEd misleadingly made it appear that the agency used confidential funds for youth training programs, when in truth it was the AFP and the LGUs which actually shouldered the expenses from their respective confidential fund allocations. There was never any correlation between DepEd's supposed surveillance or information gathering activities with the AFP's successful conduct of its summits and campaigns in partnership with the LGUs. The DepEd took advantage of the AFP, rode in the coattails of the AFP, and misled the AFP into issuing certifications for a project that is not the DepEd's to begin with. And who could forget the many anomalies we were able to uncover with respect to the acknowledgement receipts or documents evidencing payment submitted by the DepEd and the OVP to the COA. With the select few that we were able to highlight throughout the hearings, ay marami po talagang lumutang na discrepancies na ni dapat ipasawalang bahala. We were able to trace the disbursements by counter-checking the dates indicated in the ARs, and we came to know through this hearing that DepEd SDO was able to complete a job that we believe is humanly impossible. An examination of the acknowledgement receipts submitted by the DepEd for the first quarter of 2023 revealed that Mr. Fajarda made disbursements for 38 consecutive days, and for 35 out of those 38 days, payouts were made to at least 10 to 26 people per day and for various purposes. For example, reward payment, incentives, supplies, rentals, traveling expenses, etc. This is something that could not be easily missed because the acknowledgement receipts, at least for the DepEd, have fields where the payees indicate the date they received the payment and their own addresses or location. We will recall that on February 21, 2023, or the very next day after SDO Fajarda encashed a 37.5 million peso check with the Land Bank, The SDO made 7 disbursements already in 7 different locations, as evidenced by the acknowledgement receipts recorded for that date. Hindi kapani-paniwala for one person designated as the SDO to have made disbursements in Malolos, Bulacan, Danao, Cebu, San Francisco, Agusan del Sur, Makati City, Negros Occidental, Negros Oriental, and Davao City all in one day. Worse, we found other examples of DepEd acknowledgement receipts of the same date, but varied widely in terms of the localities where the payments were made. Plotting these on the Philippine map, within a single day on March 15, 2023, there were 26 disbursements which were made across 24 localities from Batanes to Davao del Sur, with total confidential expenses amounting to 1,870,000 pesos. On the 9th of March 2023, the DepEd, supposedly through its SDO, was able to make 20 disbursements over 18 localities all over the Philippines, with disbursements of confidential funds amounting to more than 1,400,000 pesos. And lastly, on February 25, 2023, there were 21 disbursements across 18 localities all over the country amounting to almost 1,400,000 pesos. All 3 examples reinforce our point that no amount of imagination can make us believe that these disbursements were made to these people at these locations and at these dates. It is physically impossible. Even assuming that the DepEd has its satellite offices and field personnel all over the country, we should always go back to the joint circular as our Bible. The function of disbursing and of being accountable for the cash advances of the confidential funds is lodged with the SDO and the SDO alone. Delegating this function to any other officer or employee would run counter to the express guidelines of the joint circular and the safeguards that it entails. Unsurprisingly, the same discrepancies have been observed in the OVP acknowledgement receipts, particularly for the payouts and disbursements for the fourth quarter of 2022. For everyone's recollection, this period refers to the 11 days when the OVP was able to use up 125 million pesos worth of confidential funds. And markedly, there were at least 3 days out of those 11 days that the payouts reached 100 recipients. For instance, noon pong December 23, 2022, based on the records and the AR submitted by the OVP to the COA, SDO Gina Acosta was able to disburse more than 15 million pesos to 103 distinct individuals for various purposes. Tila po ba naka-hyperdrive na ang naging pag-disburse ni SDO Acosta para siguruhing ma-expend ang allocated confidential funds sa OVP sa mga nalalabing araw ng 2022. Notably, the following day or Christmas Eve of 2022, these disbursements continued based on the 40 acknowledgement receipts from the OVP on this date. It spent a total of 5,429,000 pesos on supposed confidential activities. Grabe talaga itong OVP non-stop kahit magpapasko na. Whoever disbursed more than 5 billion pesos truly embodied the spirit of generosity during the holidays. If it was actually true, this amount was disbursed for confidential expenses. Lastly, we found acknowledgement receipts that the OVP reported and submitted for the fourth quarter of 2022, but bear dates outside the period for which they are intended to be used as proof. Na-observe po namin how the OVP fourth quarter acknowledgement receipts were dated December 2023, when they have been supposedly paid out to and received by the recipients in 2022. Understandably, a person can instinctively write the past year in documents when welcoming a new year. But we find it very eccentric po kasi for a person writing a date in 2022 and mistakenly indicating the immediately succeeding year, 2023, wala po yata ibang reason dito except that the acknowledgement receipts were indeed executed in 2023 and not in 2022, contrary to what the OVP is trying to establish. Sa dami po nang na-discover natin in the past hearings na sinubaybayan po ng publiko, we uncovered irregularities and deficiencies in the disbursements and reporting of the confidential funds allocated to the OVP and to the DepEd. This has been an extremely insightful exercise of our mandate as we were able to examine the sufficiency of our current legislation and how this current legislation safeguards us from potential misuse and abuse of public funds, as well as the potential malfeasance, misfeasance, and nonfeasance in the office by officers and employees of the government. Our task does not end here. It is now our duty to craft legislation that will protect the public coffers and ensure that they are not used and abused by public servants for their personal agenda. With that, Mr. Chair, I conclude my part of the hearing. Thank you, po.
Thank you, Congressman Gutierrez. Next is Congressman Zia Alonto Adjong.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'alahi wabarakatuh. Mr. Chairman and fellow members of this honorable committee, to my fellow Filipinos who are watching right now, what we have witnessed in the past 7 hearings before this Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability of the House of Representatives has left us with more questions than answers. Ang mga tanong po natin dito, hindi nakukuha ang kakulang sagot. Bagkus, nanganganak pa ng maraming tanong. But one thing, Mr. Chairman, is extremely clear to this representation. Tayo po ay na-scam sa pamamagitan ng libu-libong acknowledgement receipts na basta-basta lamang dinoktor or gawa-gawa lamang. Mr. Chair, almost 5,000 acknowledgement receipts of dubious origin, kapalit ang 612.5 million pesos na confidential funds na basta-basta lang naglaho mula sa kaban ng bayan sa ilalim ng pamumuno ng ating Vice Presidente. Mr. Chair, 612,500,000 pesos o mahigit kalahating bilyon. Mr. Chair, ito po ang pondo ng bayan na nawala o hindi ma-explain mula lamang December 2022 hanggang September 2023. 9 na buwan lamang po, Mr. Chairman. Sa ganitong halaga, halos budget na po ng isang buong ahensya para sa isang buong taon ang pinag-uusapan po dito. Pinaglaruan po tayo? Niloko ho ba tayo? O pinaglaruan po ang publiko pagdating sa kanilang pondo? Mr. Chairman, sa item 4.12 ng Joint Circular, ang requirement po sa government agencies na nagdi-disperse ng confidential funds is to submit documentary evidence of payment upon the liquidation at the end of the period for which it was allocated. These documents, Mr. Chairman, are to be submitted to the Intelligence and Confidential Fund Audit Unit of the Commission of Audit, who shall then audit these documents. In fact, upon the submission of the liquidation report to ICFAO, a certification signed by the head of agency and its special disbursement officer or SDO stating that the expenses were incurred in connection with the agency's confidential expenses and activities with supporting documents and documentary evidence of payment is needed, Mr. Chairman. As the name suggests, ebidensya, is supposed to prove a fact that the confidential funds were utilized for confidential expenses. Ang hindi dapat basta-basta lang ibinubulsa at hindi dapat lang, Mr. Chairman, dapat lang binubulsa o napupunta lang sa kung ano-anong gastusin. Mr. Chair, from among these documents, this committee discovered that the confidential funds which should be utilized by civilian agencies for security and surveillance activities, was just handed over to 2 members of the Vice President's security team upon the instruction of the VP herself. Sinabi po ito ng kanyang special disbursement officers na si Ms. Gina Acosta at Mr. Fajarda. Those funds, Mr. Chair, were never to be seen again. And according to the SDOs, this same 2 members of our security group supposedly just provided them with the acknowledgement receipts to be submitted to COA. Ibig sabihin po nito, Mr. Chair, para po mag-comply sa requirement na nag-submit ng documentary evidence of payment, ang binigay ng OVP at DepEd ay acknowledgement receipts lamang. But in the course of investigating the OVP and DepEd submissions to the COA, these acknowledgement receipts, which were supposedly submitted to prove that it actually utilized confidential funds for the purpose stated in its fiscal and financial plan, Mr. Chair, we uncovered a number of anomalies. Sabi ko nga po, ang tanong, nanganganak ng mas maraming tanong. Mukhang ang mga supposed evidence or proof of the use of these confidential funds ay bogus or gawa-gawa lamang. Fake no, ang tawag po sa English. These discoveries led us to the conclusion that something was really amiss, Mr. Chair. May mali na ang pagkakamali na ito ay humahantong po, Mr. Chairman, sa katiwalian. Under Joint Circular 2015-001, it states that confidential funds must be utilized during the period of the particular project. This was confirmed by a resource person, Attorney Gimora, who said during the November 20, 2024 hearing before this committee that she agreed that in relation to the submitted acknowledgement receipts for OVP's confidential funds in December 2022, these do not conform with the period that was covered by the confidential funds. Ito po yung kasagutan niya nung tinanong po siya ng ating kasamahan po dito, si Congressman Jill Bungalon. In the submitted acknowledgement receipts of the OVP to the COA, which as previously mentioned, it was supposedly a proof of its utilization of confidential funds from December 21 to December 31, 2022. And yet, we found numerous receipts which were dated outside of the period. Ibig sabihin, may mga resibo po tayo dyan na hindi po within the prescribed o tinalagang dates kung saan nagkaroon po ng utilization ng confidential funds. Mr. Chairman, yung confidential funds na dinisburse po ng December 21 to December 31 of 2022 ay mayroon din pong resibo tayong natanggap na dated na bago pa man ito, Mr. Chair, may mga acknowledgement receipts po tayo na natanggap na ito ay ginasta bago pa man ng December 21, 2022 at mga ibang acknowledgement receipts na nagasta ng December 2023. Ang tanong ko po, Mr. Chairman, sa atin, paano naman ito mangyayari, Mr. Chair? Hindi rin po pwedeng sabihin na para sa ibang confidential funds ito na napasama lang. Because neither the OVP nor the Department of Education had any confidential funds prior to 21 December 2023, nor for December 2023. Wala naman po na confidential funds na binibigay or accordingly gagamitin or gagastahin nung prior, bago nag-December 21, 2023 at wala naman pong confidential funds na allotted for December of 2023. What are shown on the screen, Mr. Chair, are not just the only ones we found as based on our examination of the acknowledgement receipts. We also found, Mr. Chair, that more than 150 acknowledgement receipts representing payments which amounted to more than 24 million pesos. Mahirap pong paniwalaan, Mr. Chair, na typographical errors ito o nagkamali lang po sa PEDSA. Masyado mo naman pong marami siguro itong mga typographical errors na ito because it amounts to 150 acknowledgement receipts. Further, in my experience, Mr. Chair, lahat naman tayo nagkakamali. Human error ang tawag po natin. Human error as to the writing of the dates would typically be that of the previous year and not of the succeeding year. Ibig sabihin, Mr. Chair, lahat naman tayo nagkakamali, lalo lang na pag mga bagong taon. Minsan, hindi pa natin masyadong yung acclimatize tayo doon sa pumasok na taon. Ang minsan na susulat po natin ay yung mga nakaraang taon. Hindi po yung preceding year. Na-experience po natin yan as a human error. Na nagkakamali po tayo bearing the earlier year than the preceding year. Ibig sabihin po, Mr. Chair, hindi yung darating na taon ang may susulat po natin sa mga dokumentong pinipirmahan natin. In fact, Mr. Chair, in the OVP's response to the Audit Observation Memo number 2013-211 and 2013-213, dated 19 October 2023, in which the OVP attached the aforementioned acknowledgement receipts for its December 2022 confidential expenses, it stated that the amount of 125 million pesos was supposedly spent within the period. However, as I previously mentioned, Mr. Chair, a total of 158 acknowledgement receipts submitted by the OVP for its December 2023 confidential funds expenses were made outside the period of December 21 to December 31 of 2022. Contrary, Mr. Chair, to the statement of the OVP, Mr. Chair. These acknowledgement receipts were fabricated kasi wala nga po tayong basihan kung bakit ito nagastos. Wala nga ho siya doon sa date kung dapat siya paggastosan. Because they bore dates different from the period covered, Mr. Chair. Simple po yan. Very simple po yan at makikita po ng taong bayan yan. Para daw po sa 21 of December to 31 of December of 2022 raw po ang mga ARs na isinumite. This is shown by the certification dated 10 of January 2023 where Ms. Acosta certified that the acknowledgement receipts submitted, which was showed, which we just showed, Mr. Chair, was for the period of December 21 to December 21 of 2022. Yung nakuha po ng OVP noong December 20, 2022. Pero po sa mga AR na ito, mayroong pong dalawa. Isa dated November 27, 2022 at isang dated December 12, Mr. Chair, 2022. Ito pong mga petsa na ito, it preceded the date with the confidential funds were released to the OVP in December 2022, while the others are dated in December 2022 or after the funds have been supposedly spent, Mr. Chair. Ang tanong ko po, paano po nangyari yon na meron po silang mga ARs dated prior to the actual releases of the confidential funds at may mga ARs sila dated na after supposedly na na-spent na yung kanilang confidential funds. Bali ho, Mr. Chair, mukhang base po sa sobrang dami ng mga acknowledgement receipts na ito na isinagawa lang noong hinihingan ng ebidensya ng COA sa pinadalang AOM sa Office of the Vice President. Sa aking palagay, Mr. Chair, ay itong panahon lang din na ito nagsimula gumawa ng mga ganitong klaseng acknowledgement receipts ang OVP para isumite. Para po, Mr. Chair, hindi magmukhang ginasta itong confidential expenses kung saan-saan lang po nila nilagay. Mr. Chair, it's very clear, Mr. Chair, kung titingnan po natin ng dates doon sa covered nung request of the confidential funds with that of the acknowledgement receipt na natanggap po natin, mukhang bogus po at fictitious po itong mga confidential funds, Mr. Chair. Wag din ho natin kakalimutan na by its very nature, Mr. Chair, acknowledgement receipts po ito. Ibig sabihin, pipirmahan mo ito tuwing natatanggap mo ang pera. Ibig po ba sabihin ito, Mr. Chair, mahigit 100 tao ang nagkamali na nagsabing December 2023 ang kanilang pinirman habang tinanggap nila ang pera para sa December 2022? Imposible naman po yan mangyari, Mr. Chair, dear colleagues. Let me go to another discovery that we noticed, Another anomaly this committee noticed was the use of a very unique ink in the shade of blue and several acknowledgement receipts mula po sa Office of the Vice President. At first glance, Mr. Chair, we found that these acknowledgement receipts, which supposedly were signed by different persons in different months, clearly have the same unique shade of blue ink. There are many different types of pens, Mr. Chair. Alam po natin yan. May fountain pens, may sign pens, or whatever in the Philippines na available po sa market. But what are the chances, Mr. Chair, that the same ink would be used for 2 or more acknowledgement receipts submitted by the Office of the Vice President? If you ask me, Mr. Chair, the chances are very, very low. Especially, Mr. Chair, kung titingnan nyo po, itong tinta na ito ay hindi mumurahin. Mahal po yan na ballpen. Hindi po yan common na ginagamit na ballpen. Ang mas kapanipaniwala, Mr. Chair, para sa akin ay only one person probably made these acknowledgement receipts and they are not the ones who received the funds as indicated and the acknowledgement receipts. Mr. Chair, my staff was also able to find acknowledgement receipts in different names, but the strokes o yung sinasabi po nating pagkasulat ng kanilang mga signatures signatures ito were identical. Dalawang different persons but the same identical strokes of signatures. Incidentally, Mr. Chair, these were all done on March of 2023. Moreover, Mr. Chair, the signatures all bear the same figure, done to 2 or 3 times. It's hard to believe, Mr. Chair, that such common signatures would appear like this. I admit that I'm not an expert in this kind of analysis, unlike those at the NBI, kasi sila naman po yung competent gumawa nito na examination. But based on what I know, Mr. Chair, these coincidences are too hard to ignore. In any event, Mr. Chair, ito pong committee na ito ay pinapasuri po natin yan sa NBI to make sure that these signatures are signed by the same person. Titingnan niyo mo po yan sa monitor, the same strokes, different persons. We also found out, Mr. Chair, that 2 acknowledgement receipts, both in the name of Milky Sikuya, both had done on the same day. Same po pinirmahan on the same day, same address in Zambales, and using the same pen. However, have totally different signatures. Tingnan niyo po, magkakaiba. The same Tanong ko po, Mr. Chair, did the person who signed this receipt suddenly forget how they signed in the middle of the same day? Nagkamali ho siya na nakapirma pala siya tapos pipirma ulit ng isang acknowledgement receipt? Di mo ba pag naka-receive ka na, hindi ka na ho magpipirma at hindi ka namang mag-receive ng isang another acknowledgement or payment? It could have been acceptable, Mr. Chair, if there was merely a small variance between the signatures. Although as we can see, these 2 signatures are wholly different from each other. Which only leads to the conclusion, Mr. Chair, that whoever made these ARs was not actually this Milky Sikuya. This is truly mind-boggling, Mr. Chair, to say the least. Another, Mr. Chair, another character who we found is a certain Alice Crescencio. There were 3 different acknowledgement receipts in the name of one Alice Crescencio, submitted by the Department of Education in her name. Tatlo po yan na acknowledgement receipts from the same agency, Department of Education, bearing the same name. However, Mr. Chair, similar to our friend, tandaan niyo po si Kokoy Villamin na na-present po natin nung previous hearing. Similar to our friend Kokoy Villamin, Mr. Chair, there were 3 different signatures. Kapansin-pansin din po rito, Mr. Chair, na si Miss Alice, was apparently, according to these ARs, were in different parts of the Philippines. Pinirman niya, nung inuna, nasa Pasay City siya. Pangalawa, pumirma siya, nasa Iligan City, sa Mindanao. At doon po sa ang aking probinsya, sa Lanao del Sur. Pumirma din ho siya doon. Baka nandun din siya according to the acknowledgement receipt. So, itong pangalan po ito, Mr. Chair, it leaves a very questions, no? Kaya sabi ko, nanganganak ng tanong. Itong mga pangalan na po ito, Mr. Chair, ay hindi pangkaraniwan. Hindi ho natin masyadong naririnig ang Alice Crescencio. Hindi ho common name ito. Kung Maria, ano man yan, yun ang mga common name. But this is an uncommon name. And the chances are, what are the chances, Mr. Chair, that 3 different individuals, persons, have the same names and spelling? What are the chances, Mr. Chair? All receiving the same confidential funds for different purposes from the same agency, which is DepEd. Sobrang laking coincidence ito, Mr. Chair, which actually, it's a mind-boggling. Medyo po para sa akin, kung isipin po natin ito, medyo kalokohan. I'm sorry to use the term po. Medyo kalokohan na po ito. The more likely explanation na gusto ko pong isipin ay itong mga taga-pirma o tagagawa nitong mga ARs na ito ay hindi coordinated. Baka hindi ho sila nag-coordinate and they fail to probably overlook the possibility that they may use the same name. No, signing 3 different ARs from 3 different locations bearing ngo gamit ang iisang pangalan, which is in this case, Alice Crescencio. Mr. Chair, pero hindi po dyan nagtatapos ang mga kababalaghan ang nakikita natin sa acknowledgement receipts. Mr. Chair, it is also these representations. It's my privilege and honor, Mr. Chair, to introduce to you sina Miss Sally at si Miss Sheila. Magkakaibang pangalan po ito, Mr. Chair, at malamang magkakaibang tao. Kaya nga po sila magkaibang pangalan. Pero ano po ang kapansin-pansin, Mr. Chair? At ano ang napapansin natin rito sa pinipirmang acknowledgement receipts nila from DepEd as seen on the screen? Isa lang po ang pirma nila, si Miss Sally at si Miss Sheila. Kabaliktaran po ito ni Kokoy Villamin. Si Kokoy, parehong pangalan pero iisa ang pirma. Kabaliktaran po ni Miss Sheila at Miss Sally. Magkaibang pangalan pero parehong pirma. These are two different persons, Mr. Chair, from two different addresses, I would assume. However, they have the exact same signature with exact same strokes. At baka isang tintang ballpen ang ginamit, Mr. Chair. At magkaibang lugar, Mr. Chair. Nandito po si Manong Johnny, taga Surigao din po siya. So it makes you think, Mr. Chair, that what are again the chances that once again the two different people from Digos City and Surigao City, being more than 400 kilometers away from each other, have the same exact name and the same signature. Two people signing the same pay acknowledgement receipts, two different people signing with the same signatures in two different locations which are 400 kilometers apart from each other. Taga Mindanao po ako, so alam ko po yung gaano kalayo ang Digos at ang Surigao. For me, Mr. Chair, only one person did these acknowledgement receipts, but merely changed his handwriting style from print to script in writing, the name and the addresses, but also forgetting, Mr. Chair, probably to change the signature. Yun lang po ang aking naiisip na possible na answer. And because of this, Mr. Chair, I believe that this receipt was again merely fabricated. We have all been introduced to our new characters, Mr. Chair, si Alice, Crescencio, Milky Way si Kuya, Sally, and Miss Sheila. But let us not also forget our original friends na pinakilala ng committee na ito. One of the stars on the issue, Mr. Chair, of the confidential fund is one Mr. Kokoy Villamin. Ina-mention ko po sa inyo earlier, and this was also presented in the previous hearings. Mr. Kokoy Villamin, who happens to receive confidential funds from both the OVP and the DepEd. Kung maalala niyo po, Mr. Chair, si Mr. Kokoy Villamin ay ang isa sa mga unang napansin ng committee ito marahil sa kanyang kakaibang pangalan at sa magkaiba-ibang kanyang mga pirma. Napanood din po natin, Mr. Chair, at napanood ng committee ito ang interview kay PSA Assistant National Statistician Mariza Grande na tinitingnan nila ang pangalan niya sa kanilang records at isiniwalat niya na wala silang makitang records pertaining to Mr. Kokoy Villamin. This was brought about by the request of Congresswoman Jinky Luistro na para po ma-confirm natin na may talagang tao nito, we need to seek the assistance of PSA and NBI. Pero according sa kanila, wala po silang records na may tao pong Mr. Kokoy Villamin. According kay PSA na Assistant National Statistician na Mariza Grande. Base po sa kanilang initial na findings na ito ng PSA, mas panatag ako, Mr. Chair, na ang confidential funds na di umano'y binigay kay Mr. Villamin ay hindi talaga sa kanya napunta at hindi talaga itong totoong tao. I mean, common sense would dictate, Mr. Chair, that same name, bearing the same name, ay hindi po magkakaroon ng dalawang signatures. And it reinforces our original questions kung meron po bang mga taong ganito. Ang pinakabida, Mr. Chair, sa ating naging inquiry in aid of legislation sa committee ito ay of course, si Miss Mary Grace Piatos. Thank you to Chairman Romy Acop. Siya po yung unang nakaobserba at na-notice po niya ang pangalan. Dahil yung pangalan pong ito, ang una nating napansin at napansin ni Chairman Acop dahil ito po ay kombinasyon, according to him, ng isang restaurant at chichirya. At tama na po, lahat po tayo nag-agree noon. Nung inaisiwalat sa committee ito ang acknowledgement receipt ni Ms. Mary Grace Piatos, kami ay tunay na mangha. Tayo po, hindi lang ho tayo, ang buong bayan ng namangha. We reached out to the National Statistics Authority and inquired from them into whether this was a real person or a made-up character. We were likewise informed, Mr. Chair, that the NSA had no record of any person bearing the name of Mary Grace Piatos. There are certain personalities, Mr. Chair, who claim this Mary Grace Piatos were merely a code name, adding that in television and in movies, sa mga palabas at sa television, these code names are used for secret mission. But the fugitive, and I address to him directly in hiding, forgets that this is real life. Tunay po tayong nag-iimbestiga dito, hindi po ito television, hindi po ito palabas. That the people's money earned through the hard work of every Filipino should be scrutinized on how they were spent by our agencies. Mr. Chair, ang keyword, Mr. Chair, is transparency. Transparency is required kasi kailangan masilip ng otoridad, gaya ng COA, o kaya't ang taong bayan kung nasa tama ba ang paggastos ng kanilang pondo. In this particular case, the confidential funds. The PSA recently informed us, Mr. Chair, that our new friends, Mr. Kokoy Villamin, Ms. Milky Sikuya, and Ms. Alice Crescencio, are also all non-existent. Wala po silang record. Non-existent. Hindi po sila, according to PSA, ay posibleng hindi po ito mga tao. There is no record of their birth, no record of their marriage, contracts, whatsoever, or death. No, sana naman po, hindi death, no? Although we just want to leave no stone unturned. That's why we request them if they have a proof that would really prove an evidence of their existence. Birth, marriage, or even death certificates. Wala po, according to PSA. In fact, Mr. Chairman, of the 677 names from the DepEd acknowledgement receipts, which we submitted to the PSA for verification, para po patunayan na kung mayroon bang tao na ganito, the 677 names from the ARs, it was determined by the PSA, Mr. Chair, that only 405 of these ARs with these names have no record whatsoever. So malaki-laki po yung persyento, 677. Out of the 677, 405 ang wala pong verifikasyon at wala pong record ng PSA. So Mr. Chair, it is unlikely that all of these are merely code names, as some supposedly high-powered lawyer would claim, that this simply would not make sense from a legal standpoint, which we will discuss more, Mr. Chair, and from a practical perspective, since it would be an unbelievable, unimaginable amount of effort to do. Imagine, Mr. Chair, gumawa ka, pag-imbento ka ng ganyang karamihang pangalan. At let us go back to Alice Crescencio, if assuming without conceding that these are code names. Di ba pag mga code names po, ibig sabihin you somehow protect the real identity of the person. That's why you're using code names. Itatanungin ko po, ilang beses silang kumukuha ng code name sa sina-assign sa isang tao? Halimbawa, si Alice Crescencio, 3 beses pumirma sa magkakaibang lugar ng ARs. How would they find out if Miss Alice Crescencio is assigned to a particular person kung 3 beses nila itong ginamit? Kung tanamang, if assuming that what they're saying is true, how sloppy they are to work and assign 3 code names to same code name to 3 different persons. Mr. Chair, under item 4.15.3 of the joint circular expressly requires that the SDO certify to the fact that such supporting documents for confidential funds are kept in a vault, while item 6.2.21 of the same joint circular requires that liquidation reports, along with supporting documents like the acknowledgement receipts, are required to be submitted in a sealed envelope. Ibig sabihin, ang sinasabi po dito sa joint circular, kinakailangan po na mag-certify ang SDO na may supporting documents ang confidential funds at nilalagay po sa vault. para hindi po basta-basta may labas yan. At sinasabi din ho dito sa sa joint circular na ang liquidation reports ay dapat may supporting documents. Hindi lang po ang ARs, no? At nilalagay po yan sa sealed envelope. Ganun po kaimportante yan. Ang mga requirements po na ito, Mr. Chair, ay tiyak na alam ng mga staff po ng opisina ng Vice President at ng Department of Education. In fact, Mr. Chair, to prove that they know this circular, the requirement of this circular memorandum, sinabi po ni Ms. Gina Acosta in a certification dated 10 January of 2022, certified si Ms. Acosta that the details and supporting documents relating to use of confidential funds are kept in safe. Sinabi po niya yan na nilalagay po nila as a way to observe what is required of them to do. This includes, Mr. Chair, the acknowledgement receipt of Ms. Mary Grace Piatos, according to her. So ang tanong ko po, Mr. Chair, kung meron pong stricto ang joint circular na dapat ilagay sa safe, sa vault, the joint circular uses the term vault, no? And uses also the terms and the phrase supporting documents. E di para saan pa kaya ang security measures na ito sa joint circular kung code names lang din pala ang gagamitin? Bakit ilalagay pa sa envelope kung hindi naman sigurado na totoong tao yun kasi code name pala? Sa madaling salita, Mr. Chair, what is the use of the requirement under the joint circular of keeping records locked in a safe and transmitting them via an envelope marked confidential funds kung hindi pala tunay na tao? Kung code names yan, pwede mo naman po nakalagay yan sa mesa. Malay mo ba natin kung sino si Alice Crescencio? Ano bang tunay niyang pangalan? Diba? If we are really to protect their identity. So why there's a need for the joint circular to require the agency to keep it in a safe and then have acknowledgement receipt and then put it in a sealed envelope? If these receipts, Mr. Chair, actually used,
Actually, there are three safeguard. Number one, it must be sealed. May nakalagay na confidential at dapat nakalagay sa vault.
yes. And those three requirements were already confirmed by Ms. Gina Acosta, Mr. Chair, in the previous hearing. Mr. Chair, again, let me continue. If these receipts actually use code names, what is the point locking it in a safe, again, and secure the vault and secure it in the vault when the details therein have already been obscured or changed? Pinalitan na hindi niya tunay na identity. Halimbawa, si Congressman Paulo Ortega, ang kanyang code name ay si Magneto. Pwede naman dyan nakalagay dyan. Malay ba natin na si Magneto pala si Congressman Paulo Ortega? Mr. Chair, the interpretation offered by those who claim that code names can be used is patently absurd. I'm sorry to say this. And we in government, Mr. Chair, cannot and should not dabble with the absurd. Hindi dapat ito biro, hindi biro ang pinag-uusapan dito. Hindi lang naglalaro dito, Mr. Chair. Seryosong bagay po ito. Kaya nga po may joint circular kasi seryoso po ang gobyerno kung paano po nilalagay ang criteria kung paano gastusin po ang pondo ng taong bayan, ang pera ng ating mga kababayan. So hindi po ito dapat laro-laro at hindi po lang dapat itago sa mga code names. Furthermore, Mr. Chair, just because the issue involves confidential funds doesn't mean we can ignore, exploit, and essentially invent acknowledgement receipts, which under the joint circular are proof of payment. Paano po mapoprove na itong isang tao na ito, nagngangalang ganito, ay nakatanggap dahil siya informant kung ang nilalagay lang ho natin na acknowledgement receipts ay hindi niya pangalan or code name lang, Mr. Chair, Your Honors. How can we then confirm, especially COA, Mr. Chair, that the confidential fund actually went to the right person for the stated purpose if the amount can be claimed with a code name? Mr. Chair, how can the Commission audit ensure that the agency who utilized confidential funds actually utilized it for its actual stated purpose? As allowing a code name, Mr. Chair, to me, just allows this, Mr. Chair, to be prone to abuse, but just writing any name and calling it as such, Mr. Chair. And when accountability is required from the agency of the government, the inquiry will be brushed aside only on the basis of supposed confidentiality. Ganun po eh. So we are actually weakening not only COA, but even this committee, the inherent right of this committee to exercise its oversight function. Para lang ho, Mr. Chair, to me, para lang ho itong biro-biro lamang lang. So I think those are the things that we need to consider and probably to propose a bill that would really secure the identity of the informants and as well as to prove that those informants really do receive the payments. Ilan lang po, Mr. Chairman, ito sa mga anomalyang napansin natin sa ating pag-imbestiga, sa mga documentary evidences of payment na isinumite ng Office of the Vice President at ang Department of Education para di umano'y magpapatunay sa paggamit ng confidential expenses nito. Sa aming mga kababayan, to my fellow Filipinos, I would wish that this committee's inquiry in aid of legislation with regard to the issues on confidential funds surrounding OVP and DepEd was understood. Pinapanalangin ko po, Mr. Chair, na maintindihan ito ang trabaho po natin at ginagawa po natin dito sa committee nito. Pinapanalangin ko na maintindihan ito ng ating mga kababayan. Dahil hindi po ito pondo ng isang taong pinag-uusapan. Hindi po biro ang pinag-uusapan dito. Hindi po madali ang mga na-involved na tao po dito. Ito po ang pinag-uusapan natin ay pondo po nila. Pera po ng taong bayan. And we want to make sure that whatever manners these funds are spent and utilized, it should ultimately be for the goal or objective of making their lives better. If we, Mr. Chair, as lawmakers, do not adhere to our duty to inquire with resource speakers which are aimed at addressing gaps in the law, we would not be able to pass bills to eventually become law to address these very gaps which are prone to abuse. Ang ginagawa po natin dito, at kung hindi natin ginagawa at ine-exercise ang ating oversight function, paano po tayo makakagawa ng batas para protektahan ang pera ng ating mga kababayan? This is exactly what we, Mr. Chair, this committee, as lawmakers, as legislators have done here. And this is the primary reason of why we have undergone numerous hearings in our inquiry in aid of legislation with regard to confidential funds without fear or favor. Mr. Chair, in closing, other than our goal of hopefully passing a bill to address these gaps in the law surrounding confidential funds so that this may not be abused again by those in power, we should not forget who facilitated this abuse, Mr. Chair. Sabi ko nga, hindi po madali itong investigasyon na ito dahil ang involved po ay matataas na opisyal ng ating gobyerno. There's only one person, Mr. Chair, in the middle of the issues surrounding the anomalous utilization of confidential funds of the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education. Ang tinuturo po ng lahat na naging bisita po natin dito sa committee ito. The very last invitees na nag-appear po sa committee ito, ang special disbursement officers ng Department of Education nung kapanahunan po niya at ng Office of the Vice President. Ito po yung inatasan under the Joint Circular Memorandum nung pag-disburse, paggamit ng confidential funds. Sila lang po ang merong kapangyarihan na mag-disburse at mag-implement nitong pondo na ito. At sila pong dalawa, ang sinabi po nila na nag-utos po sa kanila ay ating pangalawang Pangulo, Vice President Sara Duterte. Mr. Chair, wala pong personalan ito. Trabaho lang. Marami pong salamat. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Congressman Sia Alonto Adjong. The chair would like to recognize the following members: the Honorable Vice Chairperson from the 1st District of Zambales, the Honorable Jefferson Conghun, the Congresswoman Luis Tro Jervil from the 2nd District of Batangas, and Congresswoman Micaela Angela Swansing from the 1st District of Nueva Ecija. Congressman Zia, I think because of your presentation and just to avoid confusion, do you think we have to specifically propose na kailangan, like for example, ito po kasi yung wordings doon sa disbursement, that the details and supporting documents of transaction that are classified are in the custody of the agency and kept in its vault. So, do you think there is a need for us to propose that the word or the words bearing true names or identity be included? Para hindi na maiwasan na
Yes.
yung mga palusot.
Tama po yun, Mr. Chair. Kasi yun naman po ang purpose kung bakit ilalagay sa vault at bakit i-envelope, safe envelope. Kasi para hindi makita yung tunay na identity
Yes.
ng informants.
Ito po, that the details and supporting documents bearing true names or identity. Di ba?
Tama po
Um,
yan. Kasi sinasabi naman po yan sa joint circular.
Yes. So tingin ko magandang idagdag din natin to sa proposal natin for the amendment of the joint circular.
Tama po yun, Mr. Chair. Salamat po.
Thank you. The next to be recognized is the Honorable Jill Bongalon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. Mr. Chair, I, together with other members of this committee, will give a summary of the legal liabilities of the public officials and personalities involved in relation to the utilization of the confidential funds. Mr. Chair, as the viewing public has known, we, the Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability, have been very committed to this inquiry arising from the privilege speech number 379 of the Honorable Congressman Rolando Valeriano made on September 3, 2024, on asserting the power of the purse of Congress and the motu proprio inquiry of Congresswoman Jinky Luistros' manifestation during the budget hearing of the Department of Education in the Committee on Appropriations held on September 2, 2024. Mr. Chair, our good members of the committee have very competently summarized the facts that we have gathered from the past 7 hearings on this matter. And this representation is very honored to concur with that view that indeed the time that we have poured into this endeavor has been time well spent. For we have not only assisted the general public in understanding the process of disbursement of regular and confidential funds and their striking differences, we have also discovered alarming gaps and anomalies in the disbursement process and even outright violations of it. We believe that these findings, issues, and anomalies we have uncovered here will guide us not only in the present, but also well into the future in crafting new legislation that will aim to better protect every single hard-earned centavo of our taxpayers' money. Gayunpaman, may isa pang tanong na kailangan nating sagutin at sigurado po ako na ang taong bayan ay gusto at interesado din ito pong malaman. Ano po ba ang mga potensyal na legal liabilities, both criminal and administrative, sa mga natuklasang anomalya sa ating investigasyon? Mr. Chair, I, together with other members, have taken on the task of outlining some of the potential legal ramifications and liabilities arising from the facts that we have uncovered. Ang unang krimen na pag-uusapan po natin ngayong araw ay ang tinatawag na technical malversation under the revised penal code. Ano po ba ito? Simply stated, it means that an accountable officer applies public funds to another purpose, kahit public purpose pa yan, which is different from that which they were originally appropriated for by law or ordinance. Sa madaling salita, ginamit sa ibang bagay ang pera ng taong bayan at hindi napunta sa orihinal na pinaglaanan nito. Mr. Chair, shown on the screen are the elements of technical malversation. Very straightforward po. One, may accountable public officer ka, kagaya ng isang special disbursing officer o di kaya yung head of agency. Second, yung public funds na nasa custody niya napunta o ginamit sa ibang public purpose. Third, yung public purpose na pinuntahan ng public funds ay hindi yung purpose na inaprubahan na paggagamitan ng public funds na yon. Kaya naman, ang technical malversation ay base sa paggamit ng public funds sa ibang bagay kung saan ito ay talagang nilaan, kahit anuman ang intensyon o purpose ng paggamit nito. Even if the public funds are used for the benefit of the people, this is still penalized by law. Let's look at several instances of technical malversation that we have seemed to have uncovered. Ang pinag-uusapan po natin sa hearing na ito ay kadalasan tungkol sa confidential funds. Paulit-ulit po, and as confirmed by the Commission on Audit itself, confidential funds are only to be used for confidential expenses. Kaso pagdating po sa Office of the Vice President, yung COA na po mismo ang nag-flag sa pamamagitan ng Notice of Disallowance which says na hindi mapakita ng accountable officers, kulang-kulang ang mga binigay na dokumento o ebidensya na magpapatunay o magpapakita na confidential funds were used for the confidential expenses that are allowed under the joint circular. Let us emphasize that the joint circular requires that the confidential funds must be spent only for confidential expenses like those incurred in relation to national security and peace and order, confidential activities, among others. Such requirement was not complied with by the OVP, katulad ng itong tinutukoy na payment of tables, chairs, desktop, computers, and printers which were not even specified to be for confidential operations. Let's assume na lang po, dahil hindi alam ng SDO kung totoo ba o hindi, na talagang gumastos ng 3.5 million pesos ang OVP para sa mga office equipment na ito. Mali po na confidential funds ang ginamit nila for this. This is clear technical malversation. Mr. Chair, next slide please. Now, this one is very significant po. Presumption of malversation. Of course, there is such thing po na tinatawag na presumption of malversation, and this is found under revised penal code. At ang ibig sabihin po nito, kapag ikaw, accountable officer ka, you were given custody over public funds at ikaw ang accountable for those funds. Kapag hinanap sa iyo kung nasaan yung funds or saan napunta at wala kang masagot, the law presumes na binulsa mo. Applying Article 217 of the Revised Penal Code, malversation is presumed to have been committed. Kaya kapag accountable officer ka, dapat po napakaingat mo na hinahawakan ang public funds na ito. Hindi mo ito basta-basta ipapasa sa ibang tao. You bear the burden of making sure that the public funds go exactly to the public purpose that they were intended for. Unfortunately, Mr. Chair, when the committee in the hearing last November 25 asked Special Disbursing Officer Acosta and Edward Pajarda on where the confidential funds were spent on, they could not give answer. And worst, they merely stated that they handed it to their alleged respective security officers. Ito mismo ay malinaw na labag sa kanilang tungkulin bilang SDOs na dapat alam kung saan nagagasta ang confidential funds at hindi dapat ito ibinibigay kung kani-kanino man. Kaya naman, walang pwedeng presumption kundi binulsa nila SDOs Acosta at Edward Fajarda along with other employees and key officials of the OVP and DepEd ang confidential funds ng ating taong bayan. Yun lamang po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congressman Jill. The chair would like to recognize the Honorable Johnny Pimentel.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair, we have already conducted several hearings regarding this matter. In fact, today is the 8th hearing that we are conducting. In the course of our investigation, we have found out that there have been several laws that have been violated in the disbursements of funds. Some of these have already been mentioned earlier by my colleagues. Ngayon, meron pa pong isang paglabag sa batas. At ito ay ang falsification. Ano po ba ang falsification? Sa ating saligang batas, ito po ay may elemento po paggawa po ng itong krimen o violation ng falsification. The staff, can you please show the slide? These are the elements of falsification. Number one, the offender is a public officer or employee or notary public. Number two, the offender takes advantage of his official position. And number three, he or she falsifies a document by committing any of the acts mentioned in Article 171 of the Revised Penal Code. Ito po ay when a public officer, tulad po ng ating mga resource persons na naimbita nung nakaraang mga hearings, take advantage of their official positions and falsify documents. Ang mga halaga dito ay mga falsities or mga di katotohanan or fabrication sa mga dokumento among others. At ito mismo ang violation o krimen na nangyari sa loob mismo ng ahensya na dinidinig po natin. Ngayon, ano po ba ang ibig sabihin ng falsified documents? Paano ba ito ginagawa? There are several means to falsify documents under the Revised Penal Code. But let us go to the relevant portions to us right now. This is committed by any public officer, employee, or notary who, taking advantage of his official position, shall falsify a document by committing any of the following acts, causing it to appear that persons have participated in any act or proceeding when they did not in fact so participate. Falsification of documents is committed by making it appear that persons have participated in any act or proceeding when they did not in fact so participate. Ito po yung nakita natin ng mga obserbasyon sa mga hearing, sa mga fraudulent at bogus po ng mga acknowledgement receipts. Next slide, please. Naalala po natin lahat ang kakaibang pangalan na si Mary Grace Piatos. The person that obviously does not exist. Walang record ang PSA sa kanya, yet her name appears in the acknowledgement receipts submitted po to liquidate the confidential funds. Obviously, it was made to appear that she participated in this acknowledgement, despite the fact that she does not exist. Clearly, Mr. Chair, this is falsification. Next slide, please. Pag-usapan po din natin si Kokoy Villamin, the person po na ating na-highlight from the previous hearings who got confidential funds. As pointed out by Congressman Adyong, magkaiba po ang signature and handwriting niya sa parehong AR. This casts doubt on whether Kokoy Bublimin, if he does exist, really was the one who signed both ARs or even any one of these ARs. Hindi ka paniwala na basta-bastang nagbago na lang ang pirma ng isang tao. Again, it was made to appear that a person, itong si Kokoy Villamin, participated in these supposed payments and acknowledgement receipts when the truth, he did not. Madami po tayong examples ng mga potential counts of falsification dito sa ating hearing. These are but just a few examples. Kaya naman ang mga acknowledgement receipts nito to make it appear na sila Mary Grace Piatos, Kokoy Villamin at iba pang nakapirma ay nakakuha ng bayad mula sa confidential funds. Ngunit it was later revealed na ang mga tao nito does not even exist. This is exactly what the law penalizes as falsification. Next slide, please. Now, isa po pong violation ay ang use of falsified documents. Iba po ito sa falsification. Ito po ay isang krimen or violation ng batas natin na depende sa circumstansya. Next slide, please. Ang liable po for this crime is if alam ng isang tao ng document ay falsified at ito ay ginamit pa rin niya. Ano ba ang mga elemento nito? Una, the offender knew that a document was falsified by another person. Pangalawa, the false document is embraced in Article 171 or in any of subdivisions numbers 1 and 2 of Article 172. Pangatlo, he used such document not in judicial proceedings. And pang-apat, the use of the false document caused damage to another or at least it was used with intent to cause such damage. Next slide, please. Ito po ang mga elemento of use of falsified documents. Ang importante dito is the use of the document. Clearly po, ginamit po yung affidavit or rather yung falsified acknowledgement receipts. They were used to justify the liquidation for hundreds of millions of confidential funds. Ito po yung mga sample na mga dokumento na pinakikita natin ngayon. Naalala po natin ang mga liquidation reports ng ARs na paulit-ulit natin pinakita sa mga hearings dito ng mga signature nila SDO Acosta, SDO Fajarda ay nag-certify na ang confidential funds ay napunta sa confidential expenses. Ngunit ang totoo po na pag-alaman natin, ito ay confirm nila SDO Acosta at SDO Fajarda mismo na hindi nila alam kung saan napunta ang confidential funds. Yun lang po, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Congressman Johnny Pimentel. The next to present is Congresswoman Jean Kilowistro.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to reiterate, while it has been said repetitively already, that our ultimate objective here in conducting this inquiry in aid of legislation is to be able to enhance existing laws, come up with new ones if the need are determined, Mr. Chair. Nevertheless, we cannot brush aside, certainly, all the abuses and infractions that we have identified during the course of our inquiry in aid of legislation. And in addition to the offenses which have been raised already by our esteemed colleagues, I wish to add perjury. Perjury can be committed orally or in writing. If it is orally, the perfect example or illustration, I believe, are misrepresentations during inquiry in aid of legislation. We often hear this. You will be committing perjury because all resource persons in inquiry in aid of legislation and even in all forms of investigation, we place them under oath. At ang lahat ng pagsisinungaling while under oath, we call it perjury. Again, the best illustration of an oral perjury are those committed by resource persons appearing in this investigation while making several misrepresentations. However, Mr. Chair, when it comes to written perjury, I wish to break down the elements of this offense so we can better illustrate how this is determined. And talking about elements, Mr. Chair, as we can see from the screen, there must be a sworn statement. It must be made under oath. The statement contains deliberate assertion of falsehood, and the false declaration is with regard to material fact. Mr. Chair, in the course of our investigation, the special disbursing officers, sina Ginoong Edward Fajarda at Ginang Gina Acosta, have plainly asserted na wala raw silang alam kung saang mga aktibidad ang pinaglaanan ng confidential funds. Can we please flash the certifications? Ayon sa kanila, basta-basta lang raw nila sinunod ang utos sa kanila ng ating Vice Presidente na ipasa ang confidential funds in the total amount of 612.5 million pesos, lagpas, Mr. Chair, sa kalahating bilyon sa ibang tao na siya raw na mahala at nag-disburse nito. Pagkatapos ay ipinasa lang din ng mga SDO sa COA ang mga accomplishment reports at ang mga acknowledgement receipts na ibinigay sa kanila. Pero hindi nila alam kung totoo ang nakasulat sa accomplishment reports, kung totoo or peke ang mga acknowledgement receipts at kung saan talaga ginamit ang pera. We have witnessed this, Mr. Chair, during the interpellation of SDO Edwin Fajarda of the Department of Education, as well as SDO Gina F. Acosta of the OVP. After they testified na ipinasa nila sa mga security officer ng Vice Presidente ang pera, wala ka nang makuhang impormasyon because they kept on giving an answer. Wala silang alam dahil ang kabuuan ng halaga ay ibinigay nila sa mga security officers. Ito pong certifications, Mr. Chair, is the perfect illustration of a written perjury. Halimbawa ng tinatawag natin na written statement made under oath. It is a basic principle that even first-year law students know that a statement made before a notary public, notario publico, is a statement made under the risk of perjury. In other words, Mr. Chair, when we talk about perjury, that includes the documents which were notarized by notary publics, sworn to before notary publics, similar to the certification that we are currently flashing on the screen. Now, let us look closer at what these certifications say. Ano po ba ang nilalaman ng mga certification na ito? Number one, yung expenses where the confidential funds were supposedly spent on were incurred in connection with the agency's intelligence and or confidential operations and activities. I wish to reiterate, paano po malalaman ng ating mga special disbursing officers whether the first certification is indeed correct if they simply handed the money to the security officers? The second content, yung mga pinaggastosan raw ng confidential funds ay necessary and utilized for legal purposes. Again, Mr. Chair, how will they certify to this fact when they are totally unaware about the activities where the confidential funds were allegedly spent? Third, alam raw nila na hindi napunta ang funds sa mga gastusing ipinagbabawal sa confidential funds kagaya ng payment of salaries and wages, overtime, allowances, or fringe benefits. Mr. Chair, I wish to raise, there is one common answer coming from our SDOs. Wala silang alam dahil ang pera ay ibinigay sa mga security officers. Fourth certification, any equipment purchased was supposedly relevant to the confidential and or intelligence activities. Mr. Chair, suffice it to say that the SDOs are totally unaware of how the confidential funds were spent, primarily because they were not the one who disbursed the same. E paano po nila patututuhanan ang nilalaman ng mga certifications na ito? Certifications which were sworn to before a notary public. To emphasize, Mr. Chair, and as seen from one of the certifications, which our Secretariat is showing right now, our Vice President and SDO Acosta signed and certified this certification before the notary public, and that is Attorney Abella. Ano po ba ang sabi ng mga SDO? We all learned from the hearing on November 25 that while SDO Acosta did encash the check, according to her, wala po siyang alam kung saan napunta yung confidential funds kasi po ito ay turn over sa VP SPG. Mr. Chair, this is totally, if not completely, contradictory to the contents of the certification. It's the exact same story for Mr. Fajarda of DepEd, Mr. Chair. Sabi po nila, Ms. Acosta at Mr. Fajarda, sa ating pagdinig na hindi talaga nila alam kung saan ginastos ang pera. In other words, malay po ba nila kung napunta nga ba sa intelligence or confidential operations and activities ang pera? Malay po ba nila kung totoo yung mga pinagsasasabi na accomplishment report, liquidation report, and most importantly, certification? But they signed it, Mr. Chair. They signed them under oath. This means, Mr. Chair, that Ms. Acosta and Mr. Fajarda did not only violate the joint circular, they also lied under oath dito sa kanilang certification. They did this not just once, not just twice, but thrice for Mr. Fajarda. And for Ms. Acosta, I have to state, she did it 4 times. Paulit-ulit silang nagsinungaling sa kanilang certifications, Mr. Chair. The next offense that I wish to raise, Mr. Chair, is bribery. And we have to take this in consideration with the counter offense, corruption of public officers. Simply stated, Mr. Chair, sa isang korupsyon or anomalya, may isang nanunuhol at may isang sinusuhulan. The offense committed by the author of corruption is Article 212, that is corruption of public officers. On the assumption, Mr. Chair, na tinanggap ang suhol, then the offense committed by the one who received the money, we call it bribery. Let us discuss first bribery, Mr. Chair. Ano ang elements ng bribery? There must be a public officer. The accused is a public officer. He received directly or through another some gift or present. The receipt was in consideration of his commission of some crime, and that relates to the exercise of his function as a public officer. Of course, kailangang ma-mention ang mga krimen ng mga nagsuhol at mga nagpasuhol. Ito po ang mga elements ng bribery. Malamang lahat ng mga tao na naimbestigahan natin ay public officials who receive amounts of not just any money, but possibly of confidential funds as well. Corruption of public officers. Siyempre, kung may mga tumatanggap ng suhol, may mga nagsusuhol. Sila naman po ay magiging liable sa krimen ng corruption of public officers. Again, Mr. Chair, for clarity, ang nanuhol ay liable sa corruption of public officers. Ang tumanggap ng suhol, they are liable for bribery. Ibig sabihin, may isang special krimen para sa nagsusuhol ng mga public officials. Tingnan po natin, parehas lamang ang penalty na ini-impose sa mga nagsusuhol at sinusuhulan as provided under Article 212. Except, of course, disqualification and suspension, because these two penalties apparently apply only to public officials. Kaya naman, ang bribery at corruption of public officers ay ang pagbibigay ng pera, regalo, o kahit anumang advantage or favor sa pamamagitan ng pag-abuso ng kanyang posisyon sa gobyerno. Kindly flash the next screen. Let's all recall what we discovered from the committee investigations. May mga empleyado sa DepEd na tumanggap ng white envelopes in the same period within the confidential funds for DepEd were released. Hindi po ba kahina-hinala yan? And you can see from the screen, OVP executive admits, inamin, handing cash envelopes to DepEd officials. Next slide, please. We may recall, it was former USEC Gloria Mercado who first revealed to us that she received 9 envelopes with 25,000 in a span of 9 months. Ito'y ibinigay ni Sunshine Fajarda, ang mga envelopes kay Yusek Mercado, at sinabi na galing ito sa Vice Presidente Sara Duterte. Malinaw na ang ganitong pagkakataon ay hindi normal. Hindi normal na ang boss ay nagbibigay bigla ng sobre na may 25,000 each for 9 months to her very own head of procurement. Anyone can easily conclude that this is not merely out of generous heart of VP Duterte, but was precisely given in attempt to influence Yusek Mercado, to which she failed to do. And we may recall, Mr. Chair, during our interpellation with Yusek Gloria Mercado, she admitted believing that those envelopes were given to her to influence her decision as Hope. Next slide, please. It was not a surprise when former Chairman Resty Osayas, this is our second DepEd official, he is the chairman of DepEd Bids and Awards Committee. He admitted siya rin ay nakatanggap ng sobre na may laman na pera. Again, another key official in the procurement process of the DepEd. And yet again, another act of corruption plaguing in the DepEd. Yung nauna, Mr. Chair, Yusek Mercado, she was the hope of DepEd. And this time, we have Chairman Resty Osayas, Chairman of DepEd Bids and Awards Committee. Both admitted having received envelopes with money inside. Next slide, please. Of course, sino pong makakalimot sa ating Chief Accountant ng DepEd, Ms. Runa Catalan. Like former Yusek Mercado, like Mr. Osayas, Ma'am Catalan received the same number of envelopes containing the same amount of money in the same period of February to September 2023. Again, another key official in the DepEd who necessarily deals with the public funds of the DepEd was blinded by an alleged gift from VP Duterte. But it was later on revealed that she was requested by Sunshine Fajardo, the very person who handed her the envelopes, to sign the liquidation reports without its supporting documents. Again, corruption prevailed. Mr. Chair, in line with the issue of bribery and corruption, I wish to manifest that there is a chance that the three key officials of DepEd, who I previously mentioned, Yusek Mercado, Mr. Osayas, Ms. Catalan, were not only employees of DepEd who received envelopes with cash. I believe that it is only a matter of time. And I hope that light be shed on this alarming revelation. Tayo po'y naniniwala na hindi lamang ang tatlong opisyales na ito ang tumanggap ng envelope na may lamang pera mula sa ating Vice Presidente. Ultimately, Mr. Chair, is the crime of plunder. Isa pa sa ating nakitaan na maaring ikaso mula sa ating mga nadinig sa ating komite, rito ay ang violation ng plunder sa ilalim ng Republic Act 7080 as amended. Ang basis po natin ay lahat ng mga nakalap na impormasyon patungkol sa paggasta di umano ng OVP at ng Department of Education ng confidential funds sa ilalim ng pamumuno ng ating Vice Presidente. Mapapansin po natin na wala pong naipakita na ebidensya kung saan totoong napunta talaga ito. Pinatutunayan lang ng mga opisinang ito sa pamamagitan ng acknowledgement receipts na atin namang napansin ng napakaraming anomalya. Pareho ang sulat, pareho ang pirma, pareho ang tinta ng ballpen. Ang impossibility na ito ay na-disburse ayon sa dami ng resibo sa iisang araw lamang. At isama na din po natin ang mga nadiskubre nating pangalang Mary Grace Piatos at Kokoy Villamin na napatunayan na wala sa database ng Philippine Statistics Authority. Ang iisang konklusyon na aming nakikita sa mga ito ay hindi tunay, pineke lamang ang mga ito upang maipamukha lamang na ginasta ito para sa surveillance activities upang magamit ang pondong ito sa ibang kagamitan o pansariling interes. Ano nga ba ang plunder, Mr. Chair? Sa ilalim po ng Section 2 ng ating Anti-Plunder Act, nakasaad dito, any public officer who by himself or in connivance with members of his family, relatives by affinity or consanguinity, business associates, subordinates, or other persons amasses, accumulates, or acquires ill-gotten wealth through a combination or series of overt or criminal acts in the aggregate amount or total value of at least 50 million pesos. Nakasaad din rito na ang penalty ng paglabag ay reklusyon perpetua na may katumbas na 20 years and 1 day hanggang 40 years. I wish to add, Mr. Chair, na ito pong kasong ito, considering the penalty of reclusion perpetua is non-bailable. Kalakip din po ng penalty na ito ang perpetual absolute disqualification, which includes deprivation of such person from holding public office and employment kahit pa manalo sa eleksyon. Kaya naman, Mr. Chair, ang plunder sa madaling salita ay ang pagnanakaw ng pera mula sa kaban ng bayan na may halaga na higit sa 50 million pesos sa pamamagitan ng paggawa ng ibang krimen. Next slide, please. Kung makikita po natin sa ating screen, mayroong total na 7 umaabot sa 612 million 500,000 pesos. Ang 4 na tseke ay mula sa OVP, umabot ng 500 million pesos. At ang 3 pang tseke ay mula sa DepEd na nagkakahalaga naman ng 112 million 500,000 pesos. Mr. Chair, ang nabanggit na halaga 612 million 500,000 pesos, lagpas sa 50 million pesos na required para sa kasong plunder. Ang mga checking ito ay lahat nakapangalan kay Ms. Gina Acosta bilang Special Disbursing Officer ng DepEd. Inamin niya sa atin na imbis na i-disburse niya ito as confidential expenses, ay sinunod ang utos ng Vice Presidente na ibigay ang pera sa kanyang security officer. Dito naman po sa Department of Education, ang payee sa mga tseke ay ang Special Disbursing Officer Edward Fajarda. Former Special Disbursing Officer of DepEd. Inamin rin niya na nung nakaraang hearing na ang perang kanyang natatanggap ay kanyang ibinibigay sa security officer sa utos din ng ating Vice Presidente. Mr. Chair, I wish to show the breakdown of the confidential funds which were received both by DepEd and OVP. For OVP, Mr. Chair, for clarity, we have 125 million, that is last quarter of 2022, and then 125 million for the first, second, third quarters of 2023, total of 375. So 2022, which is 125, and 2023, which is 375. That is 500 million in total confidential funds utilized by the Office of the Vice President, Mr. Chair. For DepEd, Mr. Chair, I understand that this were utilized during the first 3 quarters of 2023, 37,500,000 each for the first, second, and third quarter of 2023, which totaled to 112 million pesos confidential fund utilized by the Department of Education. In total, Mr. Chair, ang kabuang halaga po na ating naimbestigahan pertaining to the utilization of confidential fund is 612,500,000 pesos. Napakalaki at nakakalula. And to be very candid, Mr. Chair, ilang bata na sana ang ating napakain. Ilang bata na sana ang ating napaaral. At ilang pamilya na sana ang ating nabigyan ng bahay. Mr. Chair, considering that the amounts involved here far surpass the threshold for plunder, na mas kilala bilang pandarambong, it is my humble position na dapat po talaga ay maipagpatuloy at mapalalim pa ang investigasyon upang malaman kung sino ang nakinabang sa perang ito. Such an investigation may not be for Congress to conduct anymore. Again, our ultimate purpose here is to legislate. Such an investigation, however, we will ensure will be conducted, Mr. Chair. Hindi po basta-basta ang mga pangyayaring natuklasan natin rito. Finally, Mr. Chair, ayon po sa isang Supreme Court decision, this is Macapagal Arroyo versus People, GR numbers 220598 and 220953, dated July 19, 2016. On the crime of plunder, napag-usapan po dito ng Supreme Court ang will, conspiracy na nagaganap in the commission of plunder. Kaya kung may pagpapatuloy po ang investigasyon, maigi pong matingnan kung sino po ba ang hub, sino ang mga spokes, ilang conspiracy po ba ang ating pinag-uusapan. In other words, Mr. Chair, we will look forward that as the other agencies conduct an in-depth investigation on this, we will look forward sino ang hub, sino ang sentro, sino ang nakikinabang dito sa alleged will conspiracy na ito. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congresswoman Jinky Luistro. The chair would like to recognize the Honorable Manuel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning sa ating mga kapwa mambabatas. Mr. Chair, sa inabot so far ng mga hearing natin dito sa Good Government and Public Accountability Committee or Blue Ribbon Committee, we recognize the efforts of our colleagues, yung mga staff, secretariat, at lahat po sa kanilang mga efforts para sumulong ang ating investigasyon in aid of legislation. Isang mahalagang precedent itong naging serye ng mga hearing natin, Mr. Chair, dahil dito ay napakita natin na ang mga pera ng bayan na inallocate bilang confidential and intelligence funds ay pwede naman palang pag-usapan. Pwedeng busisihin, pwedeng tingnan paano talaga yan ginamit at lalo na kung naabuso ay dapat hindi makawala basta-basta yung mga hindi nag-alaga sa pera ng bayan na pinagkatiwala sa kanila. Ito po ay isang malaking leksyon sa lahat ng mga ahensya sa ating gobyerno na ah, atat na magkaroon ng confidential or intelligence funds para sa kanilang agencies. Pangalawa, Mr. Chair, napakita natin sa mga hearing na ito na yung mga inquiries in aid of legislation ay pwedeng gawin habang nirerespeto natin yung trabaho ng iba pang mga ahensya when it comes to ensuring transparency and accountability among public officials. Pangatlo, Mr. Chair, ngayon nakita natin na meron palang pwedeng gawing isang scheme, no? Yung mga opisyal na gustong gamitin para sa sariling interes ang pera ng bayan. Lalo na, Mr. Chair, yung paggamit at paglikha ng mga peking pangalan at ginagamit ang security purposes di umano para maging dahilan ng paggamit ng mga peke, hindi totoo at mga inimbentong pangalan. Para sa representasyon ng kabataan, Mr. Chair, tayo isang malaking question mark, malaking red flag talaga na kinailangang gumawa ng mga pekeng pangalan sa mga acknowledgement receipts. Kasi in the first place, Mr. Chair, itong mga supporting documents, yung mga resibo or yung mga documentary evidence in relation to the use of confidential and intelligence funds, limited na nga in the first place ang pwede mag-access dito, Mr. Chair. Hindi nga buong mga ahensya, kahit yung COA, kinailangang gumawa ng isang unit, yung ICFAO o yung Intelligence and Confidential Funds Audit Unit, para yun lamang yung merong access sa mga dokumento. Pero kahit yun, Mr. Chair, ay hindi kinikilala ng Office of the Vice President at maging ng mga opisyal ng DepEd na nag-handle ng confidential funds. Ang tanong sa atin, Mr. Chair, kinailangang gumamit ng mga peking pangalan. Pag ganun ba, yung mga security officers na siyang nag-handle di umano ng confidential funds ng OVP tsaka DepEd, wala ba silang tiwala dun sa special dispersing officer ng OVP tsaka ng DepEd? Wala din ba silang tiwala dun sa iba pang mga opisyal ng OVP tsaka DepEd? At wala rin bang tiwala itong mga security officers sa COA o sa ICFAO na siyang inatasan ng Joint Circular 2015-01 na busisiin yung mga documentary evidence. Also, Mr. Chair, hindi ito mangyayari kung wala ang utos mismo ng nakaupong vice-presidente na si Sara Duterte. Itong pag-utos niya na maglikha ng mga peking resibo at gumamit ng mga peking pangalan, ito rin ba ay isang pagpapahiwatig na wala siyang tiwala mismo sa kanyang sa kanyang Special Dispersing Officer o SDO? Wala rin ba siyang tiwala doon sa iba pang mga opisyal ng Office of the Vice President o ng DepEd? Wala rin siyang tiwala mismo sa Commission on Audit. Kahit na laging sinasabi na hayaan daw yung COA na gawin yung kanilang trabaho. Pero the fact na magsusumite ng mga peke-resibo sa COA, yun din actually, Mr. Chair, ay pag-disregard ng vice-presidente sa mandato ng COA. And Mr. Chair, we have established na laging ginagamit ng vice-presidente yung usapin ng security, peace and order para pagtakpan yung kanilang mga maling ginawa. Kaya Mr. Chair, liban sa mga naging efforts din ng ating komite, gusto din nating kilalanin yung ginawa ng ating mga kababayan na nanood, tumutok, nakialam sa issue na ito. Pinapakita nito yung public participation na kung saan yung mga pinag-uusapan natin dito dahil public funds yung nakataya, yung mga kababayan natin ay naging interesado na maging bahagi ng pagsusulong din natin ng pananagutan sa hanay ng mga opisyal publiko. At Mr. Chair, sa mga panahon din na tayo sinisiwalat natin yung katotohanan, syempre nandyan ang iba't ibang mga tangka para lunurin ang katotohanan sa pamamagitan ng pagpapakalat ng disinformation, mga gawa-gawang kwento o naratibo. Kaya lalo nating hinihikayat yung ating mga kababayan, lalo na yung mga noona ay nagdadalawang isip pa pero lately ay hindi na rin kinakaya ang mga ginawa at mga pinagsasabi ng Vice Presidente. Patuloy po tayong tumutok pa rin at makibahagi at sana ay wag po tayong magsawa na gampanan yung ating papel bilang mga citizens na ating bansa na tiyakin talaga yung mataas na standard sa ating mga public officials. Pangatlo, Mr. Chair, sa dami ng mga pinag-uusapan ng bayan, syempre lately merong cheating issue sa pagitan ng dalawang sikat na mga celebrities na napapanood sa telebisyon. Sabi nga Mr. Chair, dapat kapag may cheating, hindi lang isang tao yung ating pinag-uusapan at tinitiyak na gumawa dapat ng tama at aminin yung mali. Pag may cheating, Mr. Chair, it involves talaga at least dalawang tao. Kaya sa bahagi din ng ating topic, Mr. Chair, lalo na ito nga is a public matter. At pag ganun, Mr. Chair, na tayo, yung taong bayan, we were actually cheated of our funds. Yung Vice Presidente, Mr. Chair, she cheated the Filipino people of our funds that could have gone to several social services, Mr. Chair. Na kung hindi yan nalagay sa confidential funds, nilagay sa serbisyo, hindi tayo hahantong sa ganitong sitwasyon, Mr. Chair. So because of this grave cheating ng mga opisyal na ito sa taong bayan, ibig sabihin hindi lang yung mga special disbursing officers, hindi lang yung mga security officers, pero ang nakaupong Vice Presidente mismo, Mr. Chair, no, ay nandaya, nagbetray sa mamamayang Pilipino, Mr. Chair. Kaya naman mula sa pakikilahok din ng ating mga kababayan ay meron tayong mga sectoral leaders representing various organizations na kumilos din at sinimulan yung pagtahak doon sa track ng pagpapa-impeach, Mr. Chair. And on our end, as a legislator, kasama ang fellow representatives natin sa Makabayan Coalition, dahil nandyan yung effort ng ating mga kababayan, inendorso natin yung ganong impeachment complaint as a logical track para matiyak yung pananagutan. This of course comes along with continued discussion sa various committees dito sa Kamara on essential points related to the matter at sa usapin din ng legislation sa future budget deliberations natin to come up with our budget law o yung General Appropriations Act ay titindig pa rin tayo na dapat ay hindi na ulit maabuso ang pera ng bayan through the form of confidential and intelligence funds. And kasabay din nun, Mr. Chair, ay yung pagsulong din ng appropriate charges sa Vice Presidente, sa mga opisyal ng OVP tsaka ng DepEd, and also ensuring further action from the Commission on Audit. Yun lamang, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Congressman Manuel. The chair would like to recognize Congressman Franz Castro.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just a point of inquiry, Mr. Chair. Kasi narinig ko kaninang umaga that this would be the last committee hearing for this topic, no, yung tungkol sa confidential funds. So ang ibig ba sabihin, Mr. Chair, we are going to we are going to have a committee report na, Mr. Chair, after this?
This will be the wrap-up committee hearing insofar as confidential fund, pero hindi pa po tayo magtatapos sa ating committee hearing. Kumbaga, year-ender lang. Sinasummarize lang po natin kung ano po mga nangyari nitong pong nakaraang 7 hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for that clarification. Narinig ko rin po yung mga manifestation, questions, mga intelligent manifestations ng ating mga colleagues. At nagpapasalamat ako sa time na binigay ng ating mga colleagues dito sa pagdinig natin sa tungkol dito sa confidential funds. Siguro ang tanong ko lang, Mr. Chair, kasi dahil kumbaga nandoon na tayo sa pinakadulo at lumalabas dito na parang natapos kay Fajarda at kay Acosta, Mr. Fajarda I mean, Mr. Fajarda as SDO ng DepEd, tsaka Acosta naman yung SDO ng ng VP. Tama po ba? So parehong sinabi nila na mukhang sila natapos na sa kanila yung pondo, pero yung cheque, sila yung nakapirma, sila yung tumanggap, no? Pero ang nangyayari, Mr. Chair, kung titignan natin ang mga pangyayari, mukhang hanggang doon na lang yung mga opisyal ng AFP na naging security officer na pinagbigyan nito ay walang accountability dito. So, at binanggit niyo rin po, AFP na yung mag-iimbestiga. So, siguro dapat iba po yung pag-iimbestiga ng AFP sa pag-iimbestiga natin. Kasi we want to know the truth. Ano ba talaga yung nangyari dito sa pondo na to ng mamamayan. Kasi parang, I feel ko lang, Mr. Chair, parang hindi tayo pwedeng tumigil na ibinigay na lang yan dahil nga sa utos ni Vice Presidente. Remember, mga nakapirma doon, mga maliliit na opisyal, si Mr. Fajarda at saka si Acosta. Malamang-lamang, Mr. Chair, wag naman sana, no? Wag naman sanang mangyari. Baka sila pa yung mademanda dahil sila yung tumanggap ng cheque, sila yung nagpapalit, pero baka maabsuelto itong mga militar, itong mga security officer na tumanggap. Kasi dito lang natin makikita in transparency, no? Yung ano ba talaga nangyari doon sa pondo? Bakit nagkaroon ng mga ganitong mga gawa-gawang pangalan o recipient ng mga rewards, ng mga supplies. Meron pa nga, Mr. Chair, no, doon sa ating doon sa ating mga ebidensya. Kung alias 'yon, RS, dalawang RS sa isang araw, reward, isang 20,000, isang 50,000. So paano nangyayari 'yon? Ano bang impormasyon na ibinigay nung the same RS siya na parehas lang siya ng pangalan, na magkaiba ng amount, no, at the same time. Kaya ito yung dapat na ipaliwanag noong mga militar na tumanggap or pinagbigyan ni Paharda, Mr. Paharda, at saka ni Mr. Acosta. Ako lang, Mr. Chair, hindi lang po kasi ako na nasasapatan na ititigil na natin yung investigasyon doon kaugnay nung confidential fund. So, ano po ba ang dito arrangement? Sila na ba ang sila na ba ang mag-iimbestiga, yung mga AFP? May time frame ba? At paano tayo makakasiguro, Mr. Chair, na magiging fair and with justice yung Remember, Mr. Chair, 612.5 million ang involved na pera dito. Kasi utos ni Vice President Sara Duterte na ibigay doon sa mga security officer, ginawa naman ng ating mga SDO, ng DepEd at saka ng OVP. Pero ano na yung kailangan makita natin dito, yung pananagutan mismo ni Vice President as siya yung nakalagay po, Mr. Chair, sa JC, sa Joint Circular tungkol sa confidential fund, na the most responsible po doon sa pondo. Kasi baka po, Mr. Chair, natatakot ako na baka ang lahat ng sisi ay mapunta doon sa SDO. Na tingin natin wala talaga silang kumbaga sa conspiracy kasama sila, accessory lang sila. Pero ang may talagang pananagutan dito sa tingin natin ay yung Vice President. katulong nung mga security officer. So yun lang, Mr. Chair, yung gusto kong maliwanagan. Bakit tinigil na natin doon? Hindi natin pinatawag yung dalawang security officer na involved o yung tumanggap kasi wala silang wala silang band. Unlike yung ating mga SDO, wala silang karapatang tumanggap. So bakit sila tumanggap ng ganitong pera at kapananagutan nila yan, Mr. Chair?
Maraming salamat po, Congresswoman Franz Castro. Unang-una po, meron na po tayong, may mga hinahing po na impeachment proceedings sa ating Vice Presidente at sa akin pong pagkakalam, ito po ay kaugnay sa confidential fund. So ito po ay dudulugin na sa pag ito po ay nai-refer sa Committee on Justice. So sa akin pong paniniwala, na yun na po yung, at yun din po yung mga suhestyon ng ating mga miyembro na doon po tutumbukin yung investigasyon. Pangalawa po, nagsalita na rin po yung AFP na nagkakaroon na rin po sila ng internal investigation patungkol po dito sa pangyayaring ito. Kaya po mas minarapat po ng mga miyembro na ito po ay ibigay sa pamunuan ng AFP nang hindi po tayo makasagabal sa kanilang pag-iimbestiga.
Ginagalang ko, Mr. Chair, no, I respect po yung decision ng member ng Committee on Good Government and Accountability. Pero I just would like to put on record po yung aking manifestation na ako po ako po yung yung nagsiwalat ng tungkol dito sa confidential fund. So hindi po ako kumbaga nasasapatan na matigil na doon sa AFP dahil alam naman natin, no, wala rin po akong tiwala na magkakaroon ng partial investigation patungo doon dahil alam naman natin, tauhan nila yung involved, 'di ba? Tao nila yung mga involved doon. Nakita naman natin doon sa ating mga investigation na wala namang national security involved, no? Wala namang ang involved dito, Mr. Chair, ay yung national interest ng taong bayan. Ang pondo na 612 na kagaya nga na sinasabi ni Congressman Raul Manuel, sinasabi ni Congressman Luistro, na kung nagamit ng maayos yan, na bigay natin yan sa ating mga estudyante sa education at pangangailangan pa ng ating mga mamamayan. So, ang tanong ko po, Mr. Chair, yung po bang investigation ng AFP, hindi na tayo involved doon. At kailan nila sasabihin po yung investigation? Kailan sila magkakaroon po ng report doon sa investigation? Kailan matatapos? Binigyan po ba natin sila ng time frame, Mr. Chair?
Tayo po ay makikipag-ugnayan po sa AFP. And in addition to that, tayo po kasi ay recommendatory lamang ang pwede po natin na gawin. We can recommend the filing of cases to airing officials, pero hindi po kasi tayo ang tagalitis. Ang proper ahensya po na po pwede pong maglitis dyan ay yung Office of the Ombudsman. Ito po yung mga ahensya na dapat pong maglilitis. At sa hanay naman po ng AFP, ang alam ko po meron po silang JAGO kung tawagin po yan or yung court martial kung hindi po ako nagkakamali.
Mr. Chair? with
Thank you,
this-
Mr. Chair. Okay.
With the indulgence
I-
of
I yield to
Congresswoman
Kong-
Castro.
Kong
Mr.
Sia.
Chair,
Congressman
Ako-
Sia.
thank you po, Mr. Chair. Naintindihan po natin yung hinaing ni Congresswoman Franz Castro. Tama po siya. Siya po yung unang nagsiwalat nitong confidential funds. Mr. Chair, gusto ko lang pong i-remind ang committee members, lalong-lalo na po ang chair kasi siya, nung nag-usapan po natin ito, yung purpose po talaga po natin is tingnan kung paano na-abuse itong confidential funds. Let me just put into record, Mr. Chair, that intelligence funds and confidential funds are not intrinsically evil. It is how the usage and utilization of these funds are that makes it bad in a way kasi may abuses. That's why we introduced two pieces of legislation kung paano i-define kung ano ba yung confidential funds. Pag sinabi mong confidential funds, ano bang definition nito? Anong technical
na parameters na po pwede natin makonsider na confidential funds. Pangalawa, alin ba sa mga ahensya ang dapat pagbigyan? So we have already accomplished that, Mr. Chair. In fact, dun po sa pangunang pambungad na statement po ng ating chairman ay sinabi niya po yan in aid of legislation. As to Mr. Chair, culpability, tama po yung sinabi ng chairman na meron pong mga ehensya sa sa judiciary or ehekutiba ang maaaring magpursu nitong ganitong mga kaso. At gusto ko lang pong linawin din po at i-re-emphasize yung sabi po ni Chairman sa ating kagalang-galang po na kay Ma'am Franz Castro, may way naman po talaga to hold these officers accountable. Apart from what they're doing right now as an part of the internal investigation, they're also already the complaint, no impeachment complaint, which I believe if we are to push the accountability side of this issue, then that's the perfect avenue for these members to discuss about culpability allegedly of these two officers, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for that.
Thank you po.
Mr. Chair.
Congresswoman Franz
May I
Castro, you are
continue, Mr.
recognized.
Chair? Thank you for that intervention, Kong Zia. So, siguro ang worry ko na lang dito, Mr. Chair. So, ito ay inimbestigahan natin. Nakita talaga natin yung anomalya dito sa confidential funds na talagang ang paggamit nito ay talagang nakita natin yung maling paggamit nitong confidential funds. At ang nasalang dito yung SDO at saka yung mga officers, yung utos, no? Pwedeng maaring itanggi yan maaring itanggi yan noong highest official ng office na inutos niya yon or whatever. So talagang ang maiipit dito, Mr. Chair, ay yung dalawang SDO. Baka malamang-lamang yan maabswelto dito si Vice President Sara Duterte. So yun lang yung takot ko. Kung hindi natin yan itutuloy-tuloy at pabayaan natin sa AFP. But anyway, I respect the wisdom of the committee members dito sa good government. At ito ba siguro di nyo rin we can answer it or not na. So ibig sabihin itutuloy na natin ito doon sa impeachment na lang, Mr. Chair. Itong mga findings natin dito through the Justice Committee na lang ba? Sa ngayon po wala pa yatang gumagalaw sa impeachment no? Hindi pa naman ito na i-refer sa Justice Committee, no? At narinig ko kayo kanina, sinabi nyo, we have no time na for this impeachment. Kaya nag-aalala lang po ako na hindi natin mapapanagod si Sara Duterte dito sa kalokohan na ginawa niya sa confidential fund kasama ng mga binanggit na mga security at ilan pang mga kakonspire niya sa Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education. And one last manifestation. Since Mr. Chair, pinag-uusapan natin dito yung confidential funds. 2023 pa, Mr. Chair, nakapag-submit na ang Makabayan Block composed of Representative Raul Manuel, myself, and Representative Arlene Brosas ng dalawa pong legislative measures related to confidential funds. Yung una nga po ay yung pag-iimbestiga ng confidential funds, hindi lang po sa Office of the Vice President. Lahat po ng confidential funds ng mga agency na nabigyan ng confidential funds. Kasi kung nangyayari ito sa Office of the Vice President, malamang, no? Ako tinitignan ko rin na may mga maling paggamit din. Pero hypothesis lang 'yon, Mr. Chair. But anyway, may dalawa po yung inihain natin. House resolution to investigate all. Kasi baka sabihin ng mamamayan natin, baka sabihin ng taong bayan, sinisiro in lang natin yung confidential funds ng OVP. Tayo po ay nagpasa na ng House resolution para imbestigahan ang lahat ng mga ahensya dahil pangalawa, meron po kaming bill na ipinasa na i-abolish talaga itong confidential funds dahil lalong-lalo na sa mga government, national government agency dahil ito nga ang hirap talagang masunod itong JC na to, Mr. Chair. At yun po, no, siguro dapat maisaalang-alang din yung mga ipinasa namin na na ano no na measures, Mr. Chair. Thank you po.
Thank you. The chair would like to recognize Honorable Jefferson Konghun.
Mga kagalang-galang na miyembro ng komite, ang mga ebidensyang inilahad sa komiting ito ay malinaw at hindi maikakaila. Sa ilalim ng mga pondo na inilaan para sa confidential fund ng tanggapan ni Vice President Sara Duterte, nakitaan natin ang malubhang paglabag at maling paggamit ng pondo ng bayan. Ang mga pondo na may layuning maglingkod sa pambansang seguridad at iba pang makatarungang layunin ay hindi ginugol alinsunod sa mga itinakdang layunin ng ating batas. Sa halip, ito ay ginamit sa hindi autorisadong gastusin. Sa pamamagitan ng dokumento at record ng pinansyal, napatunayan natin na ang mga pondo na ito ay nagamit sa paraang hindi sumusunod sa mga pamantayan ng transparency at accountability. Sa patuloy na pagsusuri ng mga record ng pondo, matibay ang patunay na may mga pondo na hindi dumaan sa tamang proseso at ang paggastos ay naganap ng walang sapat na pagsisiyasat o pagpapakita ng kahalagahan ng integridad. Ang mga pondo na dapat sana ay ginugol para sa kapakanan ng nakakarami ay naging instrumento ng maling pamamahala at pag-abuso sa kapangyarihan. Ipinakita rin dito sa komiting ito na mga dokumento at mga tiwaling aktibidad na nagpakita ng hindi autorisadong paggamit ng pondo at mga gastusin ay hindi naaayon sa mga layunin ng mga pondo ng gobyerno. Ang mga gawain ng Office of the Vice President ay hindi lamang isang simple o di sinasadyang pagkakamali, kundi isang sadyang pang-aabuso ng posisyon at kapangyarihan upang mapakinabangan ang pondo ng ating bayan. Ang mga pondo na ito ay hindi rin nailathala ng tama at hindi dumaan sa masusing pag-audit ng mga kinauukulang ahensya. Kasama na sa paglabag ang hindi tamang paggamit ng confidential fund sa mga proyekto o gastusin na walang basihan o sapat na pagpapaliwanag na nagdulot ng lubhang pang-aabuso sa tiwala ng ating mamamayan. Ayon sa ating batas, ang plunder ay isang kasong may kinalaman sa hindi tamang paggamit ng yaman ng gobyerno. Sa kasong ito, naipakita natin na ang pagkilos ni Vice President Sara Duterte ay nagsanhi ng matinding pinsala sa kaban ng bayan at tiwala ng mamamayan sa ating institusyon. Bilang miyembro ng Kongreso, tungkulin natin na tiyakin ang pondo ng bayan ay ginagamit sa tamang paraan at may tamang pagsusuri. Hindi natin maaaring hayaan na ang mga posisyon sa gobyerno ay maging instrumento ng pang-aabuso. Kaya't kami, mga miyembro ng komite, ay humihiling na ang komite ay magbigay ng nararapat na aksyon upang matiyak ang accountability at pananagutan sa kasong ito. Ang katarungan at transparency ay nararapat para sa bawat mamamayan. At nararapat lamang na ipakita natin na ang mga opisyal ng gobyerno, anuman ang kanilang posisyon, ay hindi nakakataas sa batas. Hinihiling namin na itaguyod ng komite ang mga hakbang upang tiyakin na walang sino man ang magiging ligtas mula sa legal na konsekwensya ng kanilang mga maling gawain at pagkakamali. Mr. Chair, maraming salamat po.
Thank you. Vice Chair Konghun. The chair would like to recognize the Honorable Mika Swansing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I would just like to supplement the extensive discussions that my distinguished colleagues have started with regard to the summary of all of our findings since we started our proceedings last September, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, what we have discovered throughout our 8 hearings have been very alarming and unacceptable. So Mr. Chair, siguro po ang gusto ko pong gawin ngayong araw tulad po ng ginawa ng aking mga kasamahan ay i-summarize po yung ilan sa ating mga nadiskubre, ano po yung mga natuklasan natin sa kahabaan po ng ating mga deliberasyon. Mr. Chair, sa mga taong 2022 at 2023, 612.5 million in confidential funds ang inilaan kay Vice President Duterte bilang pinuno ng Office of the Vice President at bilang Secretary ng Department of Education. This allocation of confidential funds was unprecedented. Ito ang kauna-unahang pagkakataon ng OVP at ang DepEd ay nagkaroon ng confidential funds na ganito kalaki ang halaga. 500 million para sa OVP at 37.5 million naman po para sa DepEd. Mr. Chair, our Constitution reminds us that public office is a public trust. And as such, public officials must always be accountable to the people. Ang confidential funds ay nagmumula sa kaban ng bayan. Dahil dito, pinuno ng OVP at ng DepEd sa taong bayan na siguraduhin ang confidential funds na ipinagkatiwala sa kanyang opisina ay nagagastos sa wastong paraan. Sa takbo ng ating mga deliberation, Mr. Chair, paulit-ulit nating tinanong, paano nagamit ang confidential funds? May kakulangan po ba sa mga kasalukuyang mga batas at mga guidelines ng mga ahensya? Paano dapat amyendahan ang mga batas at mga guidelines para mapigilan ang posibleng katiwalian? Kaya po sinasabi natin ginagawa natin ang inquiry na to, Mr. Chair, in aid of legislation. Dahil importante po na malaman natin kung ano po ang mga kakulangan sa mga batas at mga guidelines para malaman po natin paano po natin maamyendahan at mapapagbuti ang mga ito. Mr. Chair, responsibilidad po natin to, trabaho po natin to bilang mga legislators. Hindi po ito pamumulitika. Next slide, please. The OVP spent 500 million pesos while the DepEd spent 112.5 million pesos. The 500 million pesos of the OVP was given in 4 tranches. Yung una po, nung huling quarter ng 2022, at yung tatlo po ay ginawa sa unang 3 quarter ng taong 2023. Para naman po sa Department of Education, ang 112.5 million ay nailabas po sa loob ng 3 tranches sa unang 3 quarters ng taong 2023 sa halagang 37.5 million bawat isa. Ang sunod na tanong, Mr. Chair, paano po nailalabas ng OVP at ng DepEd ang pondo? Ito po ang natuklasan ng ating komite. On the part of the OVP, the process starts with the Vice President, hand in hand with her Chief of Staff, Ms. Zulaika Lopez, who directs the preparation of the disbursement voucher. The Chief Accountant of the OVP, Ms. Julieta Villa del Rey, certifies the availability of cash and completeness of the supporting documents. When this is done, the Assistant Chief of Staff, Mr. Lemuel G. Ortonio, approves the voucher for payment. Next, a check is issued and is circulated for signature. The authorized signatories of the checks for the OVP are Mr. Ortonio and Attorney Rosalyn Sanchez. Once the checks are signed, the Special Disbursing Officer, Ms. Gina Acosta, claims the checks and acknowledges receipt. Thereafter, Ms. Acosta takes the checks to Land Bank for encashment and deposit. The process on the side of the OVP ends with the actual disbursement of the funds by the SDO, Ms. Gina Acosta. Mr. Chair, mula po sa flowchart na ito, meron pong ilang mahahalagang obserbasyon na gusto ko pong bigyang diin. Una po, kapansin-pansin na lahat ng career officials ng OVP ay involved lamang sa pag-sertipika. Ibig sabihin po, pagdating lang po sa pagsisigurado na may pera at kompleto ang mga dokumento na kailangan para ma-release ang funds. Pero sino po ang merong critical na ginagampanan ng mga papel? Mukha pong mga tao na nakapaligid po sa ating Vice Presidente ng mahaba ng panahon. Karamihan po sa kanila mga taga Davao o galing pa po sa Davao. Sila po ang mga critical na signatories na sinisigurado na marirelease ang pera. Halimbawa po nito, si Mr. Ortonio bilang officer na siyang nag-aaproba ng payment ng confidential funds. Siya din po ang isa sa 2 signatories para po sa mga cheque. Second, Mr. Chair, napag-alaman po natin mismo na inamin ni Ms. Acosta na bagamat siya po ang Special Disbursing Officer na nagbibigay na dapat sana na nagdi-disburse ng pera, inamin mismo ni Ms. Acosta na hindi siya ang nagbibigay ng pera sa mga recipients. In other words, Mr. Chair, she had unlawfully delegated this role to the security officer. Inamin din po ni Ms. Acosta na hindi niya alam kung saan napunta ang pera. At ayon pa sa kanya, ang utos o ang direksyon ay galing po mismo kay Vice President Duterte at siya lamang ang may alam patungkol dito. Sunod pong obserbasyon, Mr. Chair. Ito po ay summary ng ating mga natuklasan po na mga anomalya pagdating po sa liquidation at disbursement ng 500 million pesos in confidential funds allocated to the Office of the Vice President. Una po, Mr. Chair, mga acknowledgement receipts na bogus at peke. Pangalawa po, mga liquidation reports na mukha pong kinopy-paste lamang sa iba't ibang mga quarters. Pangatlo po, 53 million pesos na ginastos sa tinatawag po na OVP safe houses. Pang-apat po, ang nakakamanghang pag-disburse ng pera sa 103 na mga tao at iba't ibang lokasyon sa loob lamang ng isang araw ng December 23, 2024. Yun po yung pinakita ni Congressman Rog Gutierrez na yun po yung maraming probinsya sa loob lamang ng isang araw. At ikalima po, Mr. Chair, ang paggasta ng 125 million pesos sa loob lamang ng 11 araw. Sunod po, next slide please. Kilala po natin at paulit-ulit na rin pong binigyan diin ng aking mga kasamahan ang ating main character na si Mary Grace Piatos na sinertipikahan na po ng PSA na walang record pagdating po sa birth certificate, sa marriage certificate at death certificate. Mr. Chair, ang tagal na po nating hinahanap si Mary Grace Piatos pero mahirap hanapin ang taong hindi naman pala totoo. Walang Mary Grace Piatos na tumanggap ng pera at kung walang Mary Grace Piatos na tumanggap ng pera, saan napunta ang pera? Sunod, Mr. Chair, nandiyan din po si Kokoy Villamin na mukhang napakaswerte po dahil 2 beses nakatanggap ng pera mula sa DepEd at sa OVP. Sunod po ang mga acknowledgement receipts na mukhang pareho ang ginamit na ballpen at ultimo tinta ay pareho. Kahit po sinasabi na ito ay pinirmahan ng magkaibang tao. Sunod po, mga taong magkapareho ng signature. Magkamukha po yung lagda. Hindi lang magkamukha, saktong-sakto po yung lagda. Kahit po magkaiba po yung kanilang pangalan at nakatira sila sa magkaibang syudad. Napakaliit po ng posibilidad, Mr. Chair, na may 2 tao na magkaiba ang pangalan, nakatira sa magkaibang syudad, pero parehong-pareho ang pirma. Mukhang ultimo ballpen, Mr. Chair, pareho pa po yung ballpen na ginamit. Kahit po yung mismo stroke, Mr. Chair, makikita naman po natin ay parehong-pareho din po. Sunod, Mr. Chair, nakita din natin na may mga tao na bagamat magkaiba yung pangalan at magkaiba po yung kanilang tirahan, ay pareho po yung kanilang sulat. Sunod po, at medyo malala po ito, Mr. Chair, dalawa po itong magkaakibat. Yung una po, may mga acknowledgement receipts po tayo na nakita na yung date po na nakalagay doon sa acknowledgement receipts ay petsa kung saan wala pang confidential funds na nare-release. Halimbawa po, ito pong nasa ating larawan, na nasa ating harapan, ang nakalagay po na date ay November 27, 2022. Pero kung maaalala po natin, ang unang release po ng confidential funds ay nagsimula noong December 21, 2022. So paano po nagkaroon ng acknowledgement receipt para sa pera na hindi pa nare-release at naipapamigay? Sa kabilang dako naman, Mr. Chair, sa susunod na pinapakita po nating mga larawan, meron ding mga acknowledgement receipts sa mga panahon na wala ng confidential funds na ipinapamigay. Kabaliktaran naman po ito nung pinakita natin kanina. Dito po sa ating larawan, makikita po natin na ang petsa po na nakalagay ay December 21, 2023. Pero dahil po wala nang kinuha na confidential funds ang Office of the Vice President sa huling quarter ng 2023, ay ang huli pong disbursement ng confidential funds para sa taon na yon ay September 24, 2023. So papaano po na nagkaroon ng ganitong acknowledgement receipt 3 buwan matapos ang pinakahuling pamimigay ng pera mula po sa confidential funds para sa taong 2023? Ang huling punto po, Mr. Chair, o huling mga obserbasyon na aking pong nais bigyang diin ngayong araw ay pagdating po sa usapin ng certifications. Ang paggasta ng confidential funds na OVP ay sinertify po mismo ng ating Vice Presidente under oath. Ang kabuuan po ng 500 million pesos in confidential funds na OVP ang kanya pong sinertipikahan. Ang sinabi po sa certification na makikita po natin dito, quote, "The expenditures are necessary and utilized for legal purposes." At anong pruweba po ang ginamit ng mga kawani ng Office of the Vice President para po patunayan po ito? Ang mga peking acknowledgement receipts. Mukha pong sa ating pong nakita, marami po sa mga acknowledgement receipts ay gawa-gawa lang po para makapag-submit ng documents evidencing payment na siyang requirement po ng COA. At sunod po, tulad po noong sa certification kanina, ang Vice President din po ang nagsucertify o nag-aaproba ng accomplishment reports bago po ito isumite. Dito po ay nilalagdaan niya na at sinucertify niya po na dito na pupunta yung pagkagasta ng confidential funds. Tulad po ng nakikita dito sa larawan, pinirmahan po mismo ng ating Vice Presidente ang mga accomplishment reports na ito bago po isinumite sa COA. So, yun lang po, Mr. Chair, yun lang po yung mga obserbasyon na nais ko pong bigyang diin pagdating po sa ating mga natuklasan, pagdating po sa paggasta ng confidential funds sa parte po ng Office of the Vice President. Siguro, Mr. Chair, kaya po natin ginagawa ito sapagkat sa haba po ng ating mga deliberasyon at hearings, mahalaga po na ngayon po ay bigyang diin natin kung ano ba yung mga mahalagang punto, ano po yung mga posibleng anomalya at katiwalian na ating pong natuklasan sa 3 buwan po ng ating deliberasyon. Kaya yun lang po, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Congresswoman Mika Swansing. The chair would like to recognize the Honorable Pami Zamora.
Magandang hapon po, Mr. Chair. Tulad ng mga obserbasyon ng aking colleague na si Congresswoman Swansing, patungkol sa OVP, ganun din po ang ating mga naging obserbasyon sa DepEd, ano? Bilang Secretary ng Education, dinidirekta ng ating Vice President or then Secretary of Education ang kanyang team para i-prepare ang disbursement voucher. Kanang kamay niya, it must be noted, Mr. Chair, na kanang kamay niya dito sa DepEd ay si Attorney Sunshine Fajarda na siyang asawa naman ng DepEd Special Disbursing Officer na si Mr. Edward Fajarda. Ang Chief Accountant po ng DepEd na si Ms. Rina Catalan ang siyang nagsucertify naman kung available na ang cash and yung completion po ng documents. And once everything is in order, si Ms. Annalyn Sevilla po, Undersecretary for Finance, approves the check for payment. Pinipirmahan naman po ito ni Ms. Sevilla at ni Gloria Mercado, siyang dalawang authorized signatories ng DepEd. After which, Mr. Edward Fajarda bilang SDO ang siyang tumutungo sa Land Bank at nag-e-encash ng mga checking ito. Similar to the OVP, the DepEd key individuals in the preparation and disbursement of confidential funds are those who have been familiar with the Vice President even before she assumed office. They were all with her when she was mayor of Davao City. Like Ms. Gina Acosta, Mr. Fajarda is the SDO entrusted to disburse the confidential funds to different recipients. And also, much like Ms. Acosta, binibigay rin po niya, according sa kanyang statement, ang 37.5 million na kanyang na-encash na confidential funds each time sa security officer ng DepEd. Might I say, unlawfully niyang binibigay ito. At the end of the day, sino nga po ba talaga ang nakakaalam ng lahat ng ito? Dahil hindi nakakasagot ang SDO, syempre ang nakakaalam lang po ng lahat ng ito ay ang DepEd Secretary dati na si Vice President Sara Duterte. At katulad din po ng OVP, marami rin pong katanungan patungkol sa confidential funds ng DepEd. Maraming mga kaduda-dudang acknowledgement receipts na hindi tayo sigurado sa kinapuntahan. Mga acknowledgement receipts na mukha namang pare-parehas ang nagsusulat. Mga liquidation reports na mukhang mabilisan lamang na ginagawa, copy-paste nga lamang. Ang mga tao who have supposedly used and benefited from the use of confidential funds completely denied na nagamit nila ito. AFP commanders under oath ay sinabing kung alam lang sana nila na gagamitin ang mga certifications just to justify expenditure of the confidential funds, hindi sana nila i-issue ang certifications na ito. And on top of this, mukhang ang SDO ng DepEd ay marunong pala mag-teleport, Mr. Chair, dahil in one day, nakaka-disperse po siya ng funds mula Apari po hanggang Hulo. Based sa pahayag ni Major General Nolasco Mempin, kung naaalala ng ating mga colleagues, nung na-issuehan ang DepEd ng Audit Observation Memorandum ng COA o AOM, ang Secretary ng Education asked him certification from the AFP. Under those instructions, he requested and was given these certifications for the youth leadership summits conducted by the AFP. Klaro po, walang DepEd confidential funds na nakarating sa AFP. Itong mga certification ng AFP ay ginamit lamang upang makasumite ang DepEd sa COA ng kanilang kinakailangang dokumento. They just used the AFP certifications to justify and explain their supposed 15 million in confidential funds representing rewards to informers. Katulad din po sa OVP, napakaraming maanomalyang acknowledgement receipts ng DepEd I will be showing on the screen right now acknowledgement receipts of persons with almost the exact same stroke ng pagpirma. In fact, hindi man halos mabasa dun sa pangalawang pangalan, hindi halos mabasa yung panunulat nung gumawa nito. Sa slide naman sa susunod na slide natin, meron din namang pong mga individual na 2 beses nakatanggap. Ito si Milky Sequoia na pinakilala sa atin kanina. 2 beses po siya makakatanggap sa DepEd, pero magkaiba po ang pirma sa unang Milky Sequoia sa pangalawang Milky Sequoia. Meron din naman po tayong acknowledgement receipts na kung saan ang confidential funds ay na-disburse on the same day on completely different locations. Dito po makikita natin nag-disburse ang DepEd sa Makati at sa Cebu on the same day, March 4, 2023. Lastly, similar to her role in the OVP, then DepEd Secretary Sara Duterte, siya din po ang pumirma ng certification and accomplishment reports of DepEd attesting that the funds were used in accordance with the law. These certifications were made under oath, again, as said by Congresswoman Luistro, before a notary public notarized by a attorney, Rochelle Abella. Nanumpa po ang ating Vice Presidente, Mr. Chair, na ang confidential funds na ginamit ay naayon sa batas, pero sa ating dinami-daming hearing na pinagdaanan, mukha naman po talagang hindi ganoon ang nangyari. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congresswoman Pami Zamora. The Chair would like to, before I recognize the Honorable Ortega, the Chair would like to recognize the Vice Chairperson from the 7th District of Cavite, the Honorable Crispin Diego Ping Remulla. Good afternoon, sir. The Chair would like to recognize the Honorable Francisco Pau Ortega.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Bago po tayo magtuloy, Mr. Chair, I would like to manifest and request at the same time that the Secretariat prepare and play our Balik Tanaw video for the committee, Mr. Chair.
September 4, 2023 nang unang questionin ng Senate Finance Committee ang Confidential and Intelligence Fund ng Office of the Vice President.
One of my main subjects of debate with the OVP na yung Confi and Intel funds mas properly lodged talaga dun sa ibang line items ng opisina mismo o sa mga intelligence agencies talaga.
November 9, 2023 sa Senate Budget Deliberation, tuluyan ang inurong ng Office of the Vice President ang paghingi ng confidential fund.
In receipt of a statement from the Vice President we discussed earlier, and according to her, they will no longer pursue the CIF or CF.
August 27, 2024, sinimulan ng House Committee on Appropriations ang pagdinig sa 2025 budget ng Office of the Vice President. Dito, nagtanong na rin ang ilang mambabatas sa paggamit ng OVP ng confidential fund.
So according to the utilization of the confidential and intelligence fund submitted by the COA, total of 125 million, conducted surveillance in 132 areas in 11 days. So 100% utilization.
I will forgo the opportunity to defend the budget of the Office of the Vice President through a question and answer. And I will leave it to the House to decide on the budget submitted.
Since ayaw magpaliwanag ang VP, so ibig sabihin nito, yung paggastos ng 125 million ay na pera ng taong bayan ay hindi maipaliwanag. Hindi pwede yung ganyan na yung tactics na ganyan na parang parang sorry for the pusit, na kapag nasusukol na ang pusit ay nagaano ng maitim na tinta. So ayaw natin ng ganun, Madam Chair, kasi yung atin namang pinag-uusapan dito ay budget.
I request that the chairperson of the Finance Committee preside over this hearing. With due respect, you are not allowed to do that. This is about transparency and accountability, and it doesn't exempt the office of the Vice President.
Natapos ang pagdinig nang hindi naresolba ang mga katanungan sa confidential and intelligence fund.
She may not like my answer. She may not like how I answer. She may not like the content of my answer. But I am answering.
September 10, 2024, sa ikalawang budget briefing ng Committee on Appropriations, walang dumalo mula sa Office of the Vice President.
Madam Chair, so ibig sabihin wala po ni isa na dumating from the Office of the Vice President para sumagot ng mga tanong ng ating mga colleagues, Madam Chair. That is correct. But Madam Chair, she is accountable to the people and she has this sworn duty to the Constitution, being the head of the agency, to be here.
September 18, 2024, nagbukas ng investigasyon ang House Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability. Dumalo si Vice President Sara Duterte, gayunman,
Ang nasa rules ninyo, witnesses lang po ang nag-o-oath. Wala po kayong rules sa resource persons.
Please your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the statements you will give before this committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
di rin niya tinapos ang pagdinig.
I request to leave the inquiry.
Ma'am, pwede naman po, considering na hindi naman din po kayo naka-oath and alam naman po namin marami rin po kayong ginagawa. The Vice President is excused.
September 25, 2024, hindi dumalo ang Vice Presidente sa pangalawang araw ng investigasyon kung saan lumabas ang ilang aligasyon.
In fiscal year 2023, the OVP received ₱500 million in confidential funds. Sa 500 million po, halos 10% lamang po ang pinayagan ng COA. Paulit-ulit po at parang kinapi-paste ang liquidation ng confidential funds ng OVP. Ano po yung laman nitong siyam na envelope na to?
It's 50,000 pesos. I-turn over ko na yung envelope. The envelopes where the money was. It says hope and the amount is there.
October 17, muling hindi sumipot ang top officials ng DepEd. Napilitan ng mga kongresista na isabi na ang mga ito. Lumabas muli sa hearing ang questionableng paggamit ng confidential funds ng OVP.
In 11 days, ang nagastos po nila sa safe houses is 16 million.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
November 5, 2024, sa panlimang pagkakataon, hindi sumipot ang mga dating opisyal ng OVP at DepEd sa hearing.
612.5 million ang kabuuang halaga ng confidential fund ang ibinigay sa OVP and DepEd sa loob ng 2 taon.
Nabunyag naman ang mga kahina-hinalang acknowledgement receipts na isnumite ng OVP at DepEd.
The name Woodreed, tama po ba? Mary Grace Piatos. Sa tingin mo, totoong tao yan?
November 11, 2024, apat lamang sa siyam na inimbitahang opisyal ng OVP at DepEd ang sumipot sa pagdinig. Apat sa kanila na cite in contempt.
The testimony of Zuleika Lopez is so crucial on this investigation. They can always run, but they cannot hide anymore, Mr. Chairman.
November 20, 2024, mas lumalim ang naging pagsuri sa acknowledgement receipts, partikular ang kay Mary Grace Piatos at Cocoy Villamin. Naditin na naman ang dating Chief of Staff ni Duterte sa DepEd na si Zuleika Lopez.
But I need my lawyers to be present.
November 25, 2024, pinalawig pa ng 5 araw ang contempt order laban kay Lopez.
I move, Mr. Chair, that the period of detention of Attorney Lopez be 10 days instead of 5 days.
You need to reconsider that extension of your detention. It was illegal in the first place.
Naglisa si Acosta tungkol sa proseso ng encashment at disbursement ng confidential funds ng OVP hanggang sa humiling na itong matingnan ng doktor dahil sa kanyang presyon.
We excuse Gina Acosta para po check po siya.
I understand,
Mas
Mr.
maigi
Chair.
sa clinic.
Nagpaalam na rin si Duterte at nangakong dadalo sa susunod na pagdinig ng komite.
Gina Acosta was rushed to the emergency rooms. May I ask permission to join her? Okay, I'll join you in the next hearing. Thank you.
Ngayong Lunes, gaganapin ang pagdinig ng House Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability sa paggamit ng confidential fund ng Office of the Vice President at DepEd. Inaasahang ang resulta ng mga pagdinig na ito ay magiging bahagi ng legislative agenda ng Kongreso sa susunod na taon.
1 minute, one minute suspension is declared by the chair. Congressman Pau Ortega, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As we all can see, all of these acts happened under Sara Duterte's watch during her term as the Vice President of the Philippines. Siya po ang nag-certify na tama ang liquidation. Ibig sabihin, tama po lahat ang isinumite nilang documentation. As the second highest ranking official of the government, the Vice President enjoys a high level of public trust and confidence. She took an oath to preserve and defend the Constitution and to execute laws of the country. She is accountable to the people and has the duty to serve them with the utmost responsibility, integrity, loyalty, and efficiency. But rather than observe faithfully her oath to defend the Constitution, she sought to undermine the foundational principles, transparency, and accountability. She failed to ensure that these confidential funds, which are people's money, were properly spent. Nagalit siya nang siya ay tinanong. Nagalit siya bakit daw siya prino-prosecute. Kitang-kita natin na may mali. Kitang-kita ng publiko na may mali. So bakit hindi tayo magtanong? Responsibilidad namin ito bilang representante ng taong bayan. Ang mali po ay tumahimik at magwalang kibo. Ang sabi nga po ni Albert Einstein, the world is a dangerous place not because those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing. Nasusubaybayan po nating lahat kung paano nagamit ng incumbent Vice President ang mga loopholes ng batas upang makuha ang 612.5 million na confidential funds. 2 Pasko ang lumipas na nalustay niya at kasabwat niya ang pera ng bayan. Para siyang Santa Claus ng OVP at DepEd na namimigay ng pera na pinaghirapan ng taong bayan. Pero hindi pinapamigay, mukhang binubulsa pa. In short, yumayaman si VP Sara at ang kanyang kasamahan, habang marami pa ang kumakapit pa rin sa patalim. Itong unting patak ng pera mula sa supposedly charitable programs ay makakalunas sa paghihirap at lalong-lalo na sa karamihan. Pwede na rin sana itong pangtulong at kung hindi sana niya binulsa. This is a crime of the highest order. This is not only a culpable violation of the Constitution, but a betrayal of the trust of the people that had been given to her. Mahigit kalahating bilyong piso. Ilang classroom na sana ang napagawa nito, ilang libro na at laptop sana ang nabili at nagamit ng perang ito. Ilang feeding programs na po, Mr. Chair, ang maaring isinagawa. Hindi ito biro. Hindi biro ang kalahating bilyong piso. Sa laking bagay sana kung nilaan ang perang ito sa lehitimong programa ng gobyerno. Maraming estudyante at mga guro sa pampublikong paaralan ang nagsisiksikan sa masikip at mainit na classrooms. Maaring estudyante ang naglalakad ng ilang kilometro araw-araw at tinitiis ang init ng araw. Yung iba kailangan tumawid ng ilog para makapasok sa eskwelahan. At ang ating mga guro nagpapatuloy sa pagturo sa kabila ng kakulangan ng resources. Madalas kailangang umutang para matustusan ang pangangailangan ng kanilang pamilya. Dahil kulang ang sweldo, isa sila sa pinagkaitan ng kalahating bilyong piso. Ang bawat mamamayang Pilipino ay ninakawan ng mahigit kalahating bilyong piso, Mr. Chair. It cannot be ignored that the inquiry conducted by this committee gained so much traction from the public. Sinubaybayan po tayo ng taong bayan, especially as the committee continued to uncover anomalies in the disbursement and liquidation of the confidential funds of the OVP and DepEd. Last week, 2 complaint for impeachment po ang inihain sa Kamara by various groups and various sectors, calling for the impeachment of the incumbent Vice President Sara Duterte. In both complaints, the incumbent Vice President Sara Duterte was charged with misuse of 612 million in confidential funds as discovered by this committee. The misuse allegedly amounted to a betrayal of public trust, culpable violation of the Constitution, graft and corruption, and all grounds for impeachment of a sitting Vice President under the 1987 Constitution. Nung simulan po namin ang inquiry na ito, tulad nyo, hindi po namin inaakala na ganito ang matutuklasan namin. Aayusin po namin ang mga batas na natuklasan ding maraming butas. Kaya may nakakalusot. Habang tinatalakay po namin ang usaping ito, marami ang nasaktan. Marami ang nagsabi kami ay nanggigipit. Hindi po. Ginawa po namin ang aming trabaho. Mahirap? Oo, dahil this is about a very popular Vice President. There is the greater duty of ensuring public accountability and transparency. So let the chips fall where they may. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Are there any other matters that the member would like to discuss? Wala na po ba? There being no more matters to discuss, do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chair, last manifestation before we end.
Yes, Congresswoman Franz Castor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, isang last manifestation na lang po, Mr. Chair. Dagdag ito doon sa una ko pong manifestation. I completely agree as to the criminal liabilities of the Vice President Sara Duterte. In addition, I would like to stress na isa rin sa napakahalagang tungkulin natin sa Kongreso, particular dito sa House of Representatives, ang tungkulin natin na simula ng imbestigahan o initiate or investigate or hear ang impeachment ng tinatawag na impeachable officers o matataas na opisyal na hindi maaring tanggalin sa posisyon bukod sa proseso ng impeachment. Kabilang dito ang Vice Presidente noong nakaraang linggo, nag-step 1 na ang 72 individual mula sa iba't ibang mga organisasyon na advocates ng mabuting pamamahala at pananagutan ng mga opisyal. Layo ng People's Impeachment Complaint na i-impeach si Sara Duterte bilang Vice Presidente ng Pilipinas dahil sa pagtataksil sa tiwala ng publiko kaugnay ng 612.5 million confidential funds ng Office of the Vice President at ng DepEd. mula December 2022 hanggang third quarter ng 2023. At ginamit nila ang mga revelasyon mula sa komiting ito. Ito ang acts ng pagtataksil sa tiwala ng publiko na ginawa ng Vice Presidente Duterte. Una, pagtataksil sa tiwala ng publiko sa pamamagitan ng kanyang malubhang pag-abuso sa kanyang discretionary power, yung 612.5 million confidential funds mula December 2022 hanggang third quarter ng 2023. Ikalawa, pagtataksil sa tiwala ng publiko sa pamamagitan ng kanyang malubhang pagbabaliwala sa transparency at accountability. Ginagawa niyang katatawanan ang proseso ng audit at pag-uutos sa mga subordinate na maghanda ng hindi kapani-paniwalang mga liquidation reports na sinusuportahan ng mga peking accomplishment reports at mga falsipikadong dokumento. Pangalawa, isumite ang mga ito sa Commission on Audit upang suportahan ang kaduda-dudang paggamit ng confidential funds na hindi naaayon sa mga batas at regulasyon na nagdudulot ng malaking pinsala sa gobyerno at mga taxpayer. At ikatlo, Mr. Chair, pagtataksil sa tiwala ng publiko na sa pamamagitan ng kanyang kapabayaan sa tungkulin sa kanyang sadyang pagtanggi na kilalanin ang congressional oversight sa mga deliberasyon ng mga budget at ang autoridad nito na magsagawa ng mga pagtatanong bilang tulong sa paggawa ng batas. Panawagan natin, Mr. Chair, na i-honor ang pagkilos ng mamamayan na nagsampa ng People's Impeachment Complaint. Ang Vice Presidente ay nananatili sa pwesto, mananatiling may hawak sa public funds. Kung hindi natin tatangnan ang ating tungkulin to impeach official like Vice President na ibinigay sa atin ng Constitution, Mr. Chair. Salamat, Mr. Chair.
With that, Congressman Rog Gutierrez.
Mr. Chair, motion to suspend session.
There's a motion to suspend. Is there any second to the motion?
Second.
Duly seconded. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is carried. The committee hearing of the Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability is hereby suspended until further notice.